Live from Muzzy Field in Bristol, Connecticut, Bristol Blues baseball here on the 4th of July. And a happy 4th of July to everyone who is tuning in on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry on the call between the Bristol Blues 17 and 13 and the Northshore Navigators 10 and 18. And AJ, you had the pleasure of talking with Casey Elbin last night, who pitched pristine 6 innings of no runs allowed, and by far his best start, as he said in the interview after the game.
Casey Elbin getting rewarded with some good work out of the bullpen, and Ronnie Palmer giving him the start, his first start of the season, and it was fantastic. As you said, 6 innings pitched, only 1 hit, along with no runs and 4 strikeouts. So a dynamite performance from the righty out of West Virginia Tech, and for Ronnie Palmer, you have to be pleased. And Chris, we've talked about it a little bit. There's some uncertainty at the back end of this starting rotation. You see Regula going tonight, a guy who's sometimes come out of the bullpen, sometimes made some starts. So Casey Elbin making a huge statement saying, hey, if you're going to give me the ball, I'm going to give you what you need, picking up the victory 4-1 last night on the 3rd over the Pittsfield Suns. So a great performance. And Chris, if there's anything synonymous with the 4th of July, it's fireworks and baseball. And listen, we got both of those here for you tonight. A great matchup between the Blues and the Navigators. And after the final out, a fireworks display. But we're very fired up to be here on Independence Day. No better way to celebrate it than some baseball tonight, Chris.
And Frelick's ready. Regula's ready. Let's do it here from Bristol, Connecticut. First pitch inside for a ball. 1-0. AJ, round out the batting lineup for the Northshore Navigators.
And leading off, as you mentioned, Sal Frelick, as he takes called strike 2. After him, Elias Varinos at third base, J.P. Knight in right field, Harrison Engstrom catching, George Sutherland in center field.
1-1 to the lefty, fastball outside, 2-1.
And batting 6th, second baseman Spencer Brown, followed by John Prentice, the designated hitter, and Corey DiLoretto at first, and rounding things out, Jeff Mejia in left field.
2-1 fastball in, cut and miss by Frelick. 2-2 on the defensive side for the Bristol Blues. Left, center, right, Sullivan, Breederton, Stevens in the infield. Bonficini at first, Osberg at second, Sagan at short, Malloy at third, Winkle behind the plate. The 2-2 taken into left, going back is Sullivan, and he's going to make the catch in the shadows for the first out. And on the mound is Jake Regula, 0-1 record and 8.30 ERA, has 1 game started until today. 8 2/3 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks. And AJ, I'm telling you right now, if Jake can throw first pitch strikes, and if he has the breaking ball going, he can be an effective starting pitcher.
A bit of a Jekyll and Hyde season so far for Regula. You said 9 hits and 5 walks and 8 2/3 innings pitched. That's really not what you want to see out of a guy coming out of Hartford who started off the year as a starter, went to a long reliever. But again, he can be hot and cold. And like you said, Chris, first pitch strike, that's a good sign for the righty.
1-0 liner over the head of the second baseman Osberg and into right center. Breerton's going to have to cut that off. And the first hit of the day for the Northshore Navigators is by Elias Varinos into right field.
Nice job of hitting there from Varinos. A high fastball, and you saw Regula missed high with the fastball on the first pitch, and then was up in the top half of the strike zone. Varinos going the opposite way, lining it into right center field for the base hit.
And at the plate will be J.P. Knight, the right-handed batter. First pitch high and in, 1-0. J.P. Knight, 291 average, 21 strikeouts, but here's the thing. 13 stolen bases goes to Tufts University. Regula is going to have to find a way to keep Knight off the base pads with this North Shore team. 79 total stolen bases. 1-0. Fastball low, 2-0.
Chris, you mentioned Regula making his second start of the season, and in his first start, came back on June 17th against Pittsfield, was tagged with the loss in that one.
Regula sets the 2-0. Fastball way outside to the glove side, 3-0.
And in that performance, 4 innings pitched, 3 runs, all of them earned, 4 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So if he can stay away from giving guys free passes, I think he'll be in the clear tonight.
3-0 pitch hits the outside corner. Regula's going to have to fight all the way back. On deck will be Engstrom. Pay them get on. Sutherland is in the hole.
Northshore coming into this one on a 2-game win streak.
3-1 chopper to the left side. Malloy. Nice play to second. Over to first. Not in time. Malloy going to the glove side. Only had one play. Osberg making sure that he applied and kept his foot on the base pad at second for the first. Sure out. But then the speed of Knight, as you saw with the stolen bases, 13, allowed him to get to first.
Navigators with an 11-8 win over Pittsfield on the second. Followed that up with a victory over the Rocks on the third yesterday.
Engstrom, 247, 17 strikeouts from Cochise College. Swung at the first pitch and fouled it back. Runner on first is J.P. Knight, reached on a fielder's choice. Going on the pitch outside, throw to second. Gets away from Osberg and into center, but a nice job by Sagan to back him up and not allow the speedy Knight to advance to third. But a stolen base for J.P. Knight, give him his 14th of the season.
Good pitch to run on there. Regula pouring in an off-speed pitch, and not much Winkle could do behind the dish.
1-1 high, 2-1. Now, why is it, AJ, easier to run on a curveball rather than a fastball for the people back home who maybe are new to watching baseball?
Well, it's the pop time. I mean, the longer it takes to get from the pitcher's hand to the catcher, the easier it is to steal a base.
Chopper to Sagan, sets, fires over the first, side retired. AJ, finish your thought.
So if you're trying to steal a base, obviously the more time you have in between the pitcher's hand and the catcher's glove, the likelier you are going to steal that base. And fastball coming in normally in this league around the mid-80s, maybe high 80s. That's coming in at what? Less than a fraction of a second. So you don't have a whole lot of time to get down to second base, but an off-speed pitch normally coming in a little bit slower. So that affords the base run a little bit more time. And you could see Knight took advantage of that extra time there on that one. But Jake Regula able to induce a ground ball to get out of that inning.
Does surrender one hit. We're heading to the bottom of the first. Your Bristol Blues will be coming to bat on the 4th of July. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry, you're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the first, Regula was able to only surrender one hit. That was Varinos, the third baseman, but was later out on a fielder's choice, and then ended the top of the first on a ground ball to Sagan. And now the Bristol Blues will be coming up to bat. Who do we have batting, AJ?
Well, thanks to this nifty-looking graphic coming from our producer, Huck Gallagher. How about this guy? He's working hard, earning his paycheck. But leading off for the Bristol Blues, Ian Osberg at second, followed by Alex Leparco in the two-hole designated hitter tonight. Rich Brereton, the center fielder, followed by Pat Winkle, Justin Henry Malloy, Matt Bonvicini, Peyton Stevens, followed by Jimmy Sullivan and Jeremy Sagan, rounding things out.
And on the defensive side for the Northshore Navigators, left, center, right, Mejia, Sutherland, Knight in the infield. Di Loretto at first, Brown at second, Freelick at short, Varinos at third. Behind the plate, Engstrom, and on the mound, he's going to be Shane Audette. 2-1, 189, 3 games started, 19 innings pitched, 28 strikeouts to 9 walks. First pitch fastball high, 1-0. He is the D3.com New England Rookie of the Year, goes to New England College. And AJ, this is probably, you would say, one of the best starters that the Blues have seen thus far this season.
This Bristol lineup has their work cut out for them tonight, going against the big righty out of New England College. And at New England College, it was 6-3 with a 2.38 ERA.
Say that one more time.
6-3 with a 2.38 ERA. So imagine that from a freshman coming in and contributing right off the bat. So this is a guy who has a game plan on the mound, knows what he wants to do, and he's going to execute it. And you could either get out of the way or just fall right in line. So Ian Osberg and the rest of this Blues offense definitely going to have to put out some great at-bats today.
2-1 to Osberg, fouled back 2-2. Osberg from Quinnipiac, 326 average, 22 runs scored. But the impressive thing, 18 strikeouts to only 15 walks, so varying very well between the walks, base on balls, and the strikeouts, and 13 stolen bases for Osberg thus far this season. 2-2 coming to the left-handed hitter. Osby pitch away, full count.
Osberg fourth in the FCBL in batting average, fourth in runs scored, and sixth in on-base percentage. So we've talked about it a lot, but there's really, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better guy to have the top of your lineup in this league. He's done the job without a doubt.
Payout pitch coming. Fastball away. Strike three. And Audette gets Osberg looking, and that stare down from the lefty, and he's just shaking his head. Does not like the call, but the umpire is the final say.
Tough break there from Osberg, but that's kind of part of the job of being a leadoff guy, is testing the limits of the home plate umpire. And as you can see there, Osberg a little bit frustrated, but as long as it's consistent, that's the way it'll be all night, a little bit of a pitcher's zone.
Fastball low to Alex Leparco, Western New England former CCC Player of the Year. 247 average, 18 runs scored, and even 13-13 with strikeouts and walks. Change-up in, 1-1. Now we've seen Audette now throw that. I don't know if it's a change-up or it's a slower fastball, whatever the case may be. He's throwing it both to the arm side in, once to Leparco inside and the other to Osberg away. 1-1 fastball low, 2-1.
And that's a dangerous weapon to have. I was listening to actually a podcast the other day, and CC Sabathia was talking about Luis Severino and his ability to locate his changeup inside and outside. And that's a little thing, but that can absolutely dominate for a starting pitcher.
2-1 in on the hands. Easy can of corn. Stays in the infield for Brown. 2 down.
And why I say that is because normally, from a batter's perspective, when you get a changeup, it's normally going to roll over. You always hear about rolling your wrist over when you're throwing a changeup. But when it comes out, it normally gets that tailing action. So if you're a hitter and you recognize a changeup, you kind of want to extend yourself a little bit. If you're a lefty, you want to extend. But if you're a righty, you know that ball's going to dip towards your inside as Brereton fouls one back. So if you're a batter, you can recognize that movement and get your bat head where it needs to be. But to counteract that, if you're a starting pitcher, if you can locate that inside changeup, outside changeup, that's just tough to anticipate. So if you can locate that changeup in or out or half, that's so dangerous for a starting pitcher.
0-1 to Brereton. A shot put breaking ball in the dirt. A 55-footer right there. 1-1. Brereton from Emory College, 309 average, 9 RBIs, 14 walks. But here's the big one, 30 strikeouts. That's first in the FCBL, and Brereton does have the ability to put the bat on the ball, but the strikeouts have really hurt him thus far. This one skied into right. Knight's going to make a catch potentially at the line, and he does. Side retired, 1-2-3 for Audette here in the bottom of the third. We're going to keep it right here. Kind of break down a little bit both these teams, the Northshore Navigators and the Bristol Blues. And AJ, if you compare both the pitching staffs with the Blues and Northshore, they're practically identical. I mean, you look at first in runs for Northshore, second for the Blues in terms of runs, second in earned runs, third for the Blues. First in walks, second in walks. First in wild pitches, third in wild pitches. The only difference is the Blues are second in strikeouts and Northshore is sixth.
Very similar, Chris, but there is such a huge disparity between the records of these teams. I mean, you look at Bristol, a team that's 4 games above 500, second place in the league, and Northshore, a team that's struggled, had some hard luck losses, 10 and 18 on the season. But I think the difference really, if you look in a game-by-game situation, has been the bullpens from both of these teams. And this bullpen for Bristol has shown abilities to just absolutely shut teams down when you got guys like Kyle Hagg, Mark Silvestri, and, of course, Neil McDermott, one of the best relievers in the FCBL, who can just take over games and shut them down. And meanwhile, Northshore coming into this one, their ERA, their team ERA, is actually highest in the FCBL, and I don't think that has anything to do with the starting pitching. As we see tonight's pitcher for Northshore, Shane Audette, he's coming in with a 1.84 ERA. So when you get that strong starting pitching, you expect your bullpen to follow up, but they just really haven't done the job, and it's come back to bite them in late game situations.
5, 6, 7. Sutherland, Brown, Prentice, Vandengram, D. Loretto. Regula back on for his second inning of work. 16th pitch was thrown, and that was the first pitch high. That's the 17th, and that one's ripped into right. And that's going to get all the way to the wall, and that's going to allow Sutherland tag first. He's going to get to second. Sagan tried to throw a little bit of a deke as the ball was cut off by Osberg, but a stand-up double for the 5-hitter. And Sutherland came in with a 247 average, 9 walks, 16 strikeouts, but one of their most potent bats for Northshore.
7 ribbies for Sutherland, and you can see there's certainly some power as Regula, trying to get ahead early in the count, just left that pitch out over the heart of the plate, and the lefty ripped that one pull side down the right field line.
Breaking ball couldn't snap it down, 1-0. Big thing for Regula. If he can command the breaking ball, that sets up his fastball. But if he's a one-pitch pitcher, it's going to be awfully difficult to get through this lineup once, if not twice. Falls behind 2-0. You can see the shadows really starting to creep in on Muzzy Field as the sun continues to start to set. It's only 7:16 right now, so you'd anticipate the field to be covered in shadows at about 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit after. The 2-0 on the hands, has a chance to stay. Shallow right, going back is Osberg, called off by Stevens. And a nice job by the right fielder to scream as loud as he could to be able to call off his second baseman.
Bit of an awkward play there. Always dangerous when you got an infielder backpedaling, but 100% of the time that is an easier play for the outfielder coming in to make the catch, and that's why they have precedence calling that ball off, and that's exactly what Stevens did. A little bit late, but I guess late is better than never.
John Prentice, 323, 11 walks to 11 strikeouts from New England College. He's the DH, wearing number 24. Batting from the left side. Foul tip potentially, but it looks to be that it was still in play. And Sutherland's going to get to third. A little odd right there.
Awkward play, and might have been a bit of a cross-up there between Regula and Winkle behind the dish. I didn't hear anything. Normally, you always hear the foul tips. It's tough to see, but looked like it hit the chest protector of Winkle and rolled away.
A one breaking ball drops it in, but doesn't get the call, but that's at least a good sign for Regula that if he can get the feel of the breaking ball. And on that wild pitch, Sutherland's going to advance to third. So a ball in the air, cut and missed, fastball in to Prentice, falls behind 1-2. You would think a ball in the air could potentially score Sutherland from third. Di Loretto on deck with Mejia in the hole. 1-2 to the DH. Those are breaking ball to the right side. Bonficini thought about throwing it home, but decides to tag first. Didn't have a play. RBI ground out for Prentice. Scoring is Sutherland. And Northshore is up 1-0.
It's the little things like that win or lose ball games. And again, that pass ball, a bit of an awkward play. Looked like Winkle was a bit confused after the ball didn't end up in his glove. Again, could have been a cross-up, but that ball shuffled away, allowing Sutherland to advance to third. And after a weak ground ball, just like that, Northshore up 1-0.
0-1 low, 1-1. DiLoretto, 218, 9 walks, 24 strikeouts, 13 stolen bases from Northeastern University. Mejia on deck. 1-1. To the right side, Osberg ranges to his right, or rather his left, and makes the catch for the third and final out. But that wild pitch comes back to hurt Regula. There's a little bit of a cross-up between him and Winkle. And 1-0, the North Shore Navigators are up. Running to the bottom of the second. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the second, 1-0 is your score. Wild pitch from Regula, as my partner AJ kind of talked about a little bit, maybe a little bit of a cross-up between him and Winkle. Allowed Sutherland to get the third, and then a ground ball to the right side. Bonficini only had one play, tagged on first. But North Shore traded an out for a run. And now the Bristol Blues are going to have to try to be able to at least get back the lead. You can't win with 0, AJ.
Bristol was going to have to score one anyway, so we'll see if their offense can pick up where they left off last night, which was, although they only scored 4 runs, pretty impressive from Bristol's standpoint, as they had some productive outs that scored runs. You had an RBI ground out from Giacomo Brancato, a sac fly from this man, Pat Winkle.
Fastball high, 1-0.
And then again, Winkle, in the bottom of the later innings, I believe it was the bottom of the 8th, he came up with 2 men on and 2 out and smacked a clutch 2-out, 2 RBI single that effectively put that one in the bag for Pittsfield. So the offense really coming through when it needed to, and that gave them the win last night in a pretty hotly contested game, Chris.
Winkle, 267 average, 1 home run, 10 RBIs, and I was looking at the Bristol Blues Twitter after the game, and I liked the tweet that you sent out about how it was a Spartans party because of the Haig brothers were on first and third, and then Winkle was able to get a hit as he rips that one into center, but Sutherland goes back, takes a couple steps, calls off the right fielder Knight, and Winkle is retired here in the bottom of the second. But a credit goes to you, AJ, for the kind of Twitter savvy that you have.
Oh, I'm all over that social media gang. I'm a true millennial, Chris. But yes, the Sparty party, it was
that's what it was.
Sparty party. So the brothers Haig here for Bristol, Teddy and Andrew, both Amity High School graduates, class of 2017, as Malloy takes ball 1. They both came around to score on the base hit from Pat Winkle, who is a graduate of Amity High School, just graduated this past spring, 2018. So both alumni, or excuse me, all 3 alumni of Amity High School, the great baseball power here in Connecticut. So, just throwing some Amity love.
Why not?
Even though they did eliminate me from my first ever state tournament, but gotta respect them. Gotta respect the Spartans.
I'll tell you this much: at least you were in one. I'll just leave it at that. And we got Justin Malloy at the plate, 275, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 14 strikeouts. He'll be heading to Vanderbilt in the fall. Plays third base. 2-0 to the power righty, 3-0. And Shane Audette kind of losing a little bit of his command, and it's safe to say he doesn't have a power fastball, relies more on the breaking stuff, and you do not want to throw Malloy a cookie right down the middle.
See if Malloy has the green light here.
3-0 high, decides to take it, and he's going to get on first. 4-pitch walk. Now bring up Bonficini. Be going to UConn, or rather is at UConn, will be a sophomore in the fall. 281 average, a home run, 14 RBIs, and he's first on his team with 14. First pitch, fastball outside, called a strike, 0-1. This will be the first time that Audette will be pitching from the stretch, as he had a 1-2-3 inning in the first, but now somebody on the base path, so it'll be interesting to see how Audette is from that stretch position. Malloy not taking much of a lead. DiLoretto holding him on. Change up in. That's a nice pitch from the righty, kind of bearing in and under the hands of Bonficini.
Yeah, I expect that to be somewhat of a put-away pitch for Audette today. I mean, that is a nasty changeup. It's going to fool a lot of batters.
Audette ahead of Bonficini, comes with the fastball, taken into right field. Knight's going to have to go back. He stretches and is able to make the catch. Throw coming into first. Well, plenty of time for Malloy to get back, but looking at the speed of Knight and the range, that first step you always talk about with outfielders, he had the correct one, and he stole at least a double away from Bonficini.
Nice play there from Knight, and Knight, the righty, out there in right field. So a bit of a disadvantage when he's running into that right center gap, as normally if you have a lefty out there, glove side on your right hand, that makes up for a step maybe, but Knight able to get there in time and just able to reach out and snag that one, take an extra base hit away from Bonficini.
First pitch breaking ball outside to Peyton Stevens, 241, a home run, 11 RBIs, 26 strikeouts. He's second on the team. Goes to Central Connecticut, will be a sophomore in the fall. Malloy still on at first, reached via a walk with one out. But then Bonficini flew out on a nice play from Knight, being able to range to his arm side and make the catch over the shoulder. 2-0 count on Stevens.
Stevens hitless in his last two games played. Last night against Pittsfield, took an 0-for-4.
3-0.
And before that, an 0-for-3 on the first against Worcester. So, bit of a mini slump for the right fielder, looking to get back on track.
Audette trying to be able to fight back here from a 3-0 count against the 7-hitter. Throws a meatball fastball down the middle. Peyton doesn't pull the trigger. Sullivan on deck with Sagan in the hole. And the sun really not playing much of a factor thus far, away from the first base side, kind of in between both the pitcher and the first baseman. 5-pitch walk, and that's going to bring up Sullivan with 2 runners on, but 2 out.
One thing about Bristol is they will take advantage if you give them opportunities. The other night we called the game between Bristol and the Nashua Silver Knights, and Nashua, I mean, it's a game to forget for them. Lots of walks and about 8 errors, but this Bristol team, if you give them the opportunity, they will put pressure on you, make you make the plays, and for any pitcher, you never want to give free passes, especially early in the game, that can give an offense a confidence early on that'll carry out throughout the rest of this ball game.
Bristol first in walks in the FCBO, as AJ alluded to. Sullivan 214, 6 strikeouts, will be a freshman at Virginia in the fall. Looks at a fastball low, 1-1. And AJ, you can see the type of body that Sullivan has and the growth that once you, as you've stated many times, gets into a program and nutrition with the ACC being such a powerhouse as it is, you can only dream of what he can be.
And part of that growth comes this summer as he takes strike 2 inside, but struggled early in his first couple games, like maybe what could have been a breakthrough game on the first, as he went 3-for-4 against the Bravehearts. So, again, part of that growth, even this summer, he's going to face a lot of college-level arms. It's about learning how to control an at-bat and hit the pitches that need to be hit, and taking advantage of some mistakes that normally you wouldn't be able to get away with in the high school game. So that's all part of the process now for Sullivan as he makes his way down to Charlottesville this fall.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch on the hands. It's going to stay in the infield. Who's going to call it? Second baseman Brown makes the catch on the grass. And the Blues straight runners on first and second. We're heading to the top of the third. 1-0 your score. North Shore over the Bristol Blues here on the 4th of July. I'd like to thank you for being able to tune in and spend a part of your night here on Muzzy Field, or rather at Muzzy Field, watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Nine then top for the Northshore Navigators. Jeff Mejia and then Frelick Varinos made them get on JP Knight, who made a nice catch back in the bottom of the second and stole what could potentially have been a double from Bonficini and maybe have given the Blues a 1-1 tie, but instead he held the glove, was able to make the range and the catch. And the Blues are down 1-0 so far. 2 hits for North Shore, none for Bristol, still searching. But Jake Regula back on for his third inning of work. 27 pitches thrown thus far.
And I think that's big for Regula. You never know, but if he's able to keep his pitch counts low and, again, get ahead in the strike zone early.
First pitch swing is Mejia into center, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. First hit for Mejia, the third for the North Shore Navigators here in the top of the third.
But again, this will test the mental fortitude of Regula, as now his second straight leadoff hit given up. His last inning, it was a double, now a single, and he gave up a one-out single in the first. So he's been able to kind of pepper his way around some trouble, and he's going to be tested here again.
Strike called a Frelick outside. His second at bat today. Flew out back in the first. Frelick going to Boston College in the fall. By far their best hitter in terms of average and even power. 6 home runs, 404 average, 26 RBIs. Broken bat to the right side. Bonficini makes the throw to the first. Sagan is not going to attempt the throw to the other base, but make sure he gets the out at second. Probably a smart play by Sagan, because by the time that Regula was going to be able to tag first, it might have been a little tricky. So a heads-up play by the shortstop.
Probably one of the trickier plays to execute in baseball, and quite frankly, that ball just wasn't hit hard enough to turn too. So good job there from Bonficini to get the lead out. And sometimes that can be a nerve-wracking play if you're first baseman up to par. But we've seen Bonficini has been able to make most of the plays over there at first base, and good footwork over there, which is always key. Able to clear out a lane and fire a strike to Sagan at second for the lead out.
Now you look at the likes of Frelick. 10 stolen bases, runner going, hit and run. Stevens is not going to be able to make the catch. It's going to drop right in front of him. Frelick is going to round second, get to third. Third base coach is waving him in. Bonficini cuts it off. 2-0 North Shore on the RBI double by Varinos.
Second hit of the day for Varinos. And a big one at that, is Stevens kind of bobbled that ball out there in right field, and I think that was the blow that allowed Frelick to come around to score. As we know, Stevens, an absolute cannon out there in right field, but was not able to come up with that ball cleanly. And I think if he had been, I think Frelick would have been held up at third. Nonetheless, though, Frelick coming around to score.
1-0 count on JP Knight. Breaking ball. Framework by Winkle. Pulls it back into the strike zone. 1-1. Varinos on at second with the RBI double. Scored Frelick all the way from first base. And I think there was a hit and run action because Frelick was going on the pitch, and you saw what Varinos was able to do, drive it into right. And even the strong arm of Peyton wasn't able to make the accurate throw to Bonficini and keep Frelick at third. Bristol Blues wearing their 4th of July gear, the camo on the sleeves, and the pure blue in the middle. 2-1. Fastball outside, 3-1.
Sharp look from Bristol. I know we're used to seeing the home whites, and that's always a classic look, but I'm always for a little holiday switch up, especially shouting out the troops with the camo sleeves. Even Northshore getting in on that, so definitely a good look here on the 4th.
3-1 to the left side. Malloy diving play. Throw to first. Got him.
Wow.
And what a play by Malloy, ranging to his left. Set, knew how much time he had with JP Knight, even though he's giving a hard 90. Malloy trusted his arm and got the out at first. That is a heads-up play by the third baseman heading to Vanderbilt in the fall.
Well, we knew about Malloy's arm strength. He has an absolute cannon over there at third. But sometimes his footwork is in question, but right there, fantastic. Able to recover after laying out for that ball. But popping right up and throwing an absolute strike over to Bonficini, and that's a huge out, especially for a guy, Regula, who's given up 4 hits already in just his 3rd inning of work. If that guy gets on there, things could get a little bit sideways for Bristol. But the defense picking up Regula.
0-1 breaking ball fought off by the number 4 hitter, the catcher, Harrison Engstrom. 247, 17 strikeouts. Grounded out to shortstop to end the first. 0-2 count, 2 outs. Regula so far surrendered 2 runs. Northshore with 4 hits. And as we saw before in last night's game, AJ, no hits for Bristol thus far. And that first hit came off the bat of Brereton, and it kind of set the pace for Bristol in terms of scoring in the duration of the game.
Again, not a lot of opportunities, but they took advantage of them when they had them.
Ground ball to the right side of Osberg, sets and fires, gets the out at first. But another run for the North Shore Navigators. RBI double by Verino. Scoring was Sal Frelick, who will be heading to Boston College in the fall. 2-0 your score. We're heading to the bottom of the 3rd. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the 3rd, North Shore up 2-0 over the Bristol Blues. An RBI double by Verino. Scoring was Sal Frelick. And Bristol's going to have their work cut out for them as they're going to have 9 then top. Sagan, Osberg, Leparco, Faintham, John Brereton. And AJ, I told you during the break that I had a little bit of a fun fact for you. Did you know that because of it being the 4th of July, representing the flag and what everybody, all the veterans, and for what this country really means, it's a birthday in a sense. Did you know that the flag, if you turn it and face it the other way, it means march on and go forward? Did you know that?
I'm confused.
If the flag is facing the other way, it means march on. But if the flag is facing the normal way, you halt. It means you're safe. If the flag is facing the other way, that means there's a battle still to happen, and you have to march forward.
Oh. So if the...
It's something that they used, I guess, back in the day to kind of tell the troops going forward if they were safe or prepared for battle. Fastball high, 1-0 on Sagan.
So if the Stars were in the top right corner, if you were looking at it.
If you're facing the other way, if you just turn it, if you flip it, just flip the flag.
And the Stars are in the top right corner.
Yes.
That means march on.
Slicing right. It's going to be a tough play for Knight. and just out of his reach, 1-1. Sagan 191, 17 strikeouts and 4 walks. He's a teammate of Peyton Stevens at Central. And yes, AJ, you're correct.
Chris, thank you for enlightening us with your historical facts. Are you consider yourself a history buff?
Not even close.
Okay.
Not even. I'm not going to fake it and make it seem like I know history.
Where did you pick that up? Did you just Google 4th of July facts?
Actually, no. I'll tell you about that in a sec. 1-1 to Sagan. Same approach, slicing foul into the Northshore bullpen, 1-2. I mean, a day like today, I figured, you know what, I had some time on my hands, so I figured I'd just Google, and it wasn't facts. It was more so just the history of the 4th of July and what it means, and that's what came up. Figured I'd, use my phone to good use and Google. 1-2 to Sagan, breaking ball to the left side. Frelick loses it for a second, makes the throw at first, and he's just going to get Sagan. And Frelick might have got a gift right there, as that looked to be a bang-bang play. Typically, tie goes to the runner, but Sagan was not the rewarding side on the other hand.
Bang play, as you said, but I think that throw may have just beat out the hustling Sagan, and Frelick really had to reach back and fire that one across. As you saw, he lifted his head up a split second early before completely fielding that ground ball as his gloves came up, and the ball just didn't come up with him, but able to recover and fire out Sagan for the first out of the inning. So good composure there for the shortstop, headed to Boston College next year.
Fastball inside to Osberg, looking at now his second at bat. Struck out looking in the first on a questionable pitch on a fastball away. Let's see what kind of adjustment he does against Audette right here. 2-0. Leparco on deck with Brereton in the hole. The crowd still continuing to pile in on the 4th of July. Post-game fireworks after.
Heck of a crowd tonight on hand.
Biggest crowd I've seen thus far, I think, in the season. Change up in. We've seen Audette now a couple times throw that fading changeup, having that late tumble inside to lefties. Do it to Bonficini a couple times, and now Osberg. It must be the neutralizer. 2-1 to the lefty. First baseman retreats. Nice play by Brown, diving to his left side. And just gets Osberg out at first, so a couple nice plays. Frelick being able to kind of keep his composure, like my partner AJ said, and just got Sagan, and then Brown ranging to his left, and then more importantly, D. Loretto, the first baseman, retreating and covering the bag because there was no way that Audette was going to make that play at first. First pitch to Leparco. Fastball down the middle. 0-1 thus far. A fly out in the infield to Brown back in the first.
And I think that changeup, as we wear on here, it's going to be even more dangerous for Audette, especially from a hitter's perspective, as Leparco swings and misses. But from a hitter's perspective, you look up on that scoreboard, and one time through the order, you see no hits. And if you're a hitter coming back into the dugout, after you record it out, you go, geez, I just want to get up the next time and absolutely smash one. Sometimes you can be a little bit overeager. And the first good pitch you see, you just want to rip it as far as you can. And I think Audette is picking up on that a little bit. And when you see fastball, and that's what the changeup looks like when it's coming in, you really want to smash it. And when you take a couple miles per hour off, you're going to swing right over it. And if you make contact, it's normally going to be soft. And as you saw from Osberg there, just a rollover to second base. So these Blues hitters definitely have to be a little bit patient up there and let Audette make a mistake and come to them if they want to get on base.
3-2 is the count on Leparco through 2 straight balls. And the Blues still looking for their first hit in the bottom of the third. The closest thing they've got to a base runner was 2 walks, Malloy and Stevens. Other than that, Audette has been able to find the Blues to keep them off balance. Payoff pitch coming. Nice little stretch play by Varinos at third, as it was a soft liner. And it's 2-0 Northshore over the Bristol Blues, still looking for their first hit, right to the top of the 4th. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Top of the fourth, 5, 6, 7. Sutherland, Brown, Prentice, Vandam Gadan, D. Loretto. And the Bristol Blues still searching for their first hit. They're going to head to the bottom of the fourth, trying to be able to crack the code of Audette, the right-handed pitcher, the D3.com Pitcher of the Year. Or rather, pardon me, it was the Rookie of the Year from New England. First pitch swinging is Sutherland slicing into left center. But Brereton made the correct step and gets the first out here in the top of the fourth.
That's huge for Regula. One pitch, one out. Able to keep his pitch count low. And although Northshore has been able to scratch a few across, you really have to give credit to Regula, he's bent, but he hasn't broken so far. And
little Q-tip Malloy has some time, double clutches, and shows off the strong arm and gets Brown out at first. This kid Malloy showing off the flash.
And you can see there a little bit of a double clutch, some hesitation as he probably just couldn't get the correct grip out of his glove, but no panic, able to fire over to first in time. But as I was saying, Regula, he's bent, but he hasn't broken. Anytime you talk to a pitching coach, you're going to hear, listen, we can survive the one-run innings and hopefully keep it no more than that. But once you get into the 3, 4, 5 type run innings, crooked numbers, that's when you can lose ball games. So Regula right now, as he hasn't got much offensive help, no hits so far for Bristol, he's still keeping his team within striking distance.
42nd pitch coming, the 2-0. Big healthy cut by Prentice, but missed, 2-1. 2-1 taken. Must have been low. 3-1.
Man, not sure where that pitch was. Looked like it was right on the black, but as you said, must have been low.
Must have been too good. 3-1 low and ball 4. Prentice is going to get on at first. A 2-out walk.
First walk issued by Regula. Certainly something to keep an eye on if he can avoid those free passes. That'll be huge for him. As you see, 4 hits in his 4th inning. So this Northshore team has been able to scrap across a couple hits, but really not a whole lot doing on the base pads. So if he's able to avoid those free passes, those hits don't hurt as much.
Fastball right down the middle to the 8-hitter, Corey D. Loretto, the first baseman. Came in with a .218 average, 24 strikeouts, 13 stolen bases, is susceptible to striking out, and I think that's what Regula is looking for as he gets ahead 0-2 on the right-hander.
And it's amazing how different the at-bat is for Regula when he gets a first pitch strike. You can almost see in his body language he's a little bit more confident in his stuff to go after some guys, and after a first pitch strike, quickly ahead 0-2, looking to attack here.
0-2 fastball out. Again, must have been pretty good. 1-2, and I think Regula, that's the second time he's kind of given the umpire that, where was that pitch?
I think he's afforded that. I mean, those 2 pitches, as good as they get.
Runner going, breaking ball in the dirt. Winkle double clutches, decides not to throw. And a stolen base for Prentice. So Northshore Navigators have a runner in scoring position with 2 down.
So, that ball call there turns into a huge play because now 2-2 counts even. You could almost argue that's a hitter's count here, and stolen base, got a guy in scoring position. Cut
at and missed is Di Loretto, and Regula gets the strikeout, stranding the runner on at second. Heading to the bottom of the 4th. 2-0. Northshore is up over the Bristol Blues here on the 4th of July. I'd like to thank you for being able to tune in and spend your 4th of July night here at Muzzy Field on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the fourth, 3-4-5. Brereton, Winkle, Malloy, if any of them get on. Bonficini and Jake Regula was able to escape what potentially could have been another run for Northshore as they're currently up 2-0 on a stolen base by Prentice. That now gives the Northshore Navigators 81 stolen bases on the season. And as you know, AJ, you're not going to throw out every base stealer that makes the attempt, so why not try? And Northshore 10-18 on the season, they have a steady decline to be able, or rather a climb to go up. Why not try it?
And sometimes stealing bases, it's not just about being the fastest guy on the field when you're going first to second, but it's about being smart and picking and choosing when you should run and when you shouldn't run. And you've seen today, you can call it guessing, but in both stolen base situations, they've guessed correctly as both pitches have been off speed, and that's a huge advantage when you're trying to swipe a bag. Both of the pitches have been off speed. One of them was in the dirt. So picking on Winkle a little bit behind the dish, but again, they've been smart about when they're going to steal some bases.
And Brereton, who broke up the last no-hitter here at Muzzy Field yesterday against the Suns, as he looks at now a 3-0 count. It would be quite ironic if he was able to do that here in the same inning and the same situation, 3-4-5, and the same battering order with Brereton, Winkle, Malloy, except Moroku was batting sixth instead of Bonficini. 3-0 to Brereton. Looks at ball four. Third walk surrendered by Audette.
Sometimes, Chris, a walk is as good as a hit, and especially when you got your big boppers in the lineup coming up. Could be a little bit something cooking here for Bristol as they looking to get something going here. And in front of one of the bigger crowds we've seen this season, why not maybe get something cooking here with a couple of base hits here in the fourth.
Winkle flew out to center back in the second inning. Looks like first pitch ball, 1-0. You talk about cooking with it being the 4th of July. You got chicken, you got cheeseburgers, barbecue.
What's your go-to, Chris? What's your go-to?
Straight barbecue.
I know, but what food? What are you going? Ribs, hot dog, burger?
Winkle skies this one into foul territory. DiLoretto, losing it for a second, is able to regroup and make the catch near first base, one down here in the bottom of the fourth. And AJ, I'm all about the ribs.
Really?
All about the ribs.
I was cooking up some ribs this morning.
Were you?
Had them smoking at 9 a.m.
You didn't tell me. Wow. And we're partners.
Listen, I'm not gonna. I'm sorry, but I'm a little selfish when it comes to food. I'm not one of those, generous. Oh yeah, take a bite of this, take a bite of that. I'm looking out for myself. It's like the Hunger Games. I'm looking out for myself and myself alone.
I like the comp to Hunger Games. It's me, myself, and me.
And in my case, it's normally not the Hunger Games. It's typically just the Hungry Games. I'm just always hungry. So that's normally where I'm coming from. But if you're going with the ribs, I think I got to go with the classic burger. Can't turn that down.
With bacon, right?
If I'm feeling myself a little bit, I might throw a little bacon on there.
Why not?
But sometimes you got to watch that cholesterol a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm getting old. I got to look at I got to start worrying about that stuff now. And calories, I'm not as young as I used to be, so the metabolism isn't really there anymore.
Yeah, just run the treadmill for 10 minutes. You'll be good. 2-0 count on Malloy. Hits that one off the end of the bat towards left center. Sutherland calling off Mejia. Comes in a couple steps. And Malloy 0 for 2 on the day, or rather 0 for 1 on the day. He walked back in the second. And what started out quite pleasant for the Blues, a leadoff walk by Brereton. You got 2 straight flyouts. Winkle flew out in foul territory to the first baseman, DiLoretto. And now Malloy in center.
And it looks like we've talked about it all game, Chris, but that changeup, because you see 2 weak flyouts from probably 2 of the most dangerous bats in this lineup, a weak foul pop and a lazy fly ball to center.
He just gets in time as Brereton, we saw it yesterday, he leans a little bit towards first on some pickoff attempts just in case of maybe a fake, and Brereton just got there in time, and Audette quick moves to first.
Needed some acrobatics there from Brereton to avoid that tag.
I don't blame him. Throw back there again.
Brereton aggressive over there at first base.
Peyton Stevens on deck. Sullivan in the hole. First pitch high to Bonficini, and the sophomore in the fall going to UConn, he does not swing at too many pitches outside the strike zone, and he really is a disciplined hitter. And I think that's the one thing that helps out this left-hander, a graduate from Holy Cross, played on a couple state teams, which I don't know if you know much about the Holy Cross Crusaders, AJ, but they are a very well-oiled machine in the NVL.
One of the most renowned baseball programs, I believe, normally in Class S, right?
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
Normally up there, always a contender in that Class S state title run. So
2-0 in the dirt, 3-0. In basketball, if I recall, I think they're in Class L. Well, actually, no, it's not classes anymore. They do by
divisions.
It's
the talent ranking.
Yep,
now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A couple teams actually dropped. Kennedy dropped from Division 1 to 3. I saw Woodland moved up. Very questionable. 3-0 high, and Bonficini doesn't expand the zone. Another walk by Audette, his fourth, but has not surrendered a hit, so the effective wildness of this right-hander continues here at historic Muzzy Field.
And Audette playing with fire a little bit, but as you said, has been able to keep the Blues off the board when it comes to base hits. So Audette flirting with danger, but able to come away unharmed. But as you see here, it'll be Todd Alford, who is also the manager for this Navs team, stepping out, having a talk with his starting pitchers. He can tell pitch count getting up there a little bit, and if you're Bristol here, one hit can maybe spark a huge rally, and with 2 outs here, definitely looking to take advantage after the leadoff walk and then a 2-out walk. So Peyton Stevens due up here, looking to make something happen.
Stevens was one of the 4 walks, and for Audette, you see a little bit of stretching going on in the bullpen, and I know that the Northshore Navigators' Achilles heel has been the bullpen. So if you're Bristol, if you could find any way to get this guy out, I mean, you could throw Nolan Ryan out there. You probably have a better shot of getting hit off him than Audette right now, who's really keeping you off the pace. And typically a fastball hitting team has seen nothing but breaking balls.
Audette now at 60 pitches.
Stevens gets blown away by a fastball, 0-1. And how many more times can Audette play with fire before he gets burnt?
Well, 4 walks, that's going to get your pitch count up there. But, I mean, if you're Bristol, at some point you're going to have to take advantage, and they really just have not been able to.
Breaking ball high, 1-1. You saw on that pitch how Audette typically, more so on the breaking ball, what I've noticed, he falls towards first base, whereas the fastball, he's directly towards home. So if you wonder, the Bristol Blues are maybe kind of picking up on that now, second at bat's through. 1-1 to Stevens. In the dirt, Engstrom keeps the ball in front. 2-1. And how important is that, as you saw with Regula, who threw a wild pitch and then a ground ball that scored the first run for North Shore, keeping the runners where they are.
The man behind the dish, sometimes a thankless job, but when you need him the most, especially in high-pressure situations, that's when it comes out.
3-1. It'd be nice if Sullivan could come up with the bases loaded. He has struggled, 214, 6 strikeouts. The freshman at Virginia in the fall. It'd be nice to be able to see what his approach would be with the bases loaded.
What do you think you're going to see here out of Audette, Chris? He's been going to his changeup for big pitches. Do you see that coming?
I see curveball. 3-1. Fastball. Actually, no, might have been a changeup. Stevens didn't commit. And the recent graduate from Weathersfield, going to Virginia in the fall, as we've mentioned, will now be coming up with the bases loaded. And this will be a nice little challenge for him, although in terms of Division III to Division I, maybe not the best in terms of talent per se, just because of overall fastball velocity and breaking stuff efficiency. But actually right here, it's Audette's not even going to have an opportunity to face the young left-handed batter. We're going to the bullpen.
Interesting call here. from Todd Alford. Going to the pen, so Shane Audette. How many times can you hear this, Chris? Did not surrender a hit in his outing, but he's being yanked here in the bottom of the fourth. The big spot, bases loaded. 2 outs for Bristol.
New pitcher on the mound for the Northshore Navigators. And AJ will give you that in 1 second. The stat line for Shane Audette, 3 2/3, 5 walks, 1 strikeout, 16 batters faced. And as my partner said right before we went to break, has not surrendered a hit, but was taken out with 2 outs and the bases loaded. So it'll be interesting to see how the struggling bullpen of Northshore reacts the remainder of the game. AJ, new pitcher on the mound.
You're exactly right, Chris. And that new pitcher is number 30, Brock Riley, the right-hander out of Salem State University. He's appeared in 6 games so far this season, all of them out of the bullpen. Posted a record of 0-1 with a 2.38 ERA and 11 1/3 innings pitched. So Todd Alford showing a lot of confidence, taking out his starter who hadn't given up a hit, going to Riley here in a huge situation in this game. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Jimmy Sullivan.
First pitch to Sullivan. Takes a big cut, but misses 0-1. And right there, Sullivan was not cheated on that swing.
Riley with 11 Ks so far. Sullivan looking for his first RBI of the season.
0-1 to the lefty, and you see right here from Riley just powering fastballs. And the young left-handed batter the timing's just a little off.
You can see Riley having his way right here. I think he's going to go right back to that fastball.
You have to. 0-2. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Sullivan goes down on 3 straight fastballs. And that's an at-bat that the young left-hander going to Virginia in the fall will be able to take note of. He'll learn from that. 2-0 your score. We're heading to the top of the 5th. Bristol Blues straying the bases loaded. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel.
Back here at Muzzy Field on Independence Day, the 4th of July. Top of the 5th action. Northshore Navigators leading your Bristol Blues 2-0. Jake Regula still on. A little bit of a delay here. Justin Henry Malloy
he can't find his
has
glove.
not come on to the field. And As Chris, you said it, Malloy could not find his glove. And if you've ever played baseball, and I think everyone's run into that moment, and it's a, OMG, where's my glove? Where's my hat? Where are my batting gloves? I'm losing my mind. But Malloy able to recover and out there at third base as Jeff Mejia takes strike one.
See, what's more embarrassing, not finding your glove or giving a presentation in front of 50 people?
Mejia takes ball one. Depends on what the presentation is, Chris.
Could be anything. Just the fact you're presenting in front of people.
1-1, misses high, 2-1. I'd have to go with the technical difficulties in the dugout. That was a life or death moment for me back in my playing days. The 2-1 pitch misses low and inside, so Regula quickly falls behind to the leadoff man, 9-hole hitter Jeff Mejia, who's 1 for 1 on the day with a single back in the third. 3-1, catches the inside corner, count now full. Payoff pitch misses inside, so Mejia, the 9-hole hitter, able to work a leadoff walk. Regula's second on the day here in the top of the fifth, so that'll take us back to the top of the order. Leadoff man, the shortstop, Sal Frelick.
You saw right there, the last, or more so in that pitch selection, how being able to throw that fastball inside to the glove side to lefties.
Frelick takes strike one.
I don't know if it's a comfortability for Regula or maybe it's something he's trying to work on, but he looks more fluid throwing to the arm side rather than his glove side. Arm side is the arm of which you throw in. The glove side is the one that you hold said glove.
Frelick takes ball one. We talked about it earlier. Chris, Northshore, always aggressive on the base pad, but Mejia just 2 stolen bases on the season. But the runner goes. Winkle, the throw is in time but dropped by Sagan. So Mejia in there with the stolen base, the Nav's third of the day. And, well, you can't fault Pat Winkle behind the dish on that one, as that throw got there in time on a short hop. But Sagan unable to corral it. So just like that, man on second, as Frelick sends one into the right center gap. Brereton giving chase, and he's going to make the play on the run. Tagging is Mejia. He will move to third. So one away off the sac fly from Sal Frelick as Mejia moves to third. That'll bring up 2-hitter Elias Varinos, who's 2 for 2 on the day, has been a Blues killer so far tonight. A single in the first and a double, an RBI double, back in the third.
And you see what speed does in that situation. More than likely, maybe he's at second or he possibly even stays at first. But because of what this North Shore team does, the stats don't look good either on the pitching or the hitting, but the one thing they do is they take chances and steal. Their record is 92 stolen bases. They're at 82 right now. I can put money on it. They're going to eclipse that.
Infield pulled in now as Varinos fouls that one back, and that'll even the count at 1 strike. But that dropped throw from Jeremy Sagan probably would have had Mejia at second, but unable to corral it. And then the very next pitch, Mejia moves to third on the sac fly. So a scoring opportunity here for North Shore as Varinos fouls this one into the Bristol Blues dugout. 1-2 the count.
Nice little bare hand from Leparco, showing off why he has one of the best gloves and hands on the team.
DHing tonight, but still making the plays. But a big hit pitch here for Regula. A strikeout would be huge. Off speed, misses outside. Count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
No, that play at second base, Sagan, as he applied the tag, you wonder if maybe he hit the part of the body of Mejia where it kind of flicked out. And it's bad luck, but nonetheless, North Shore's game.
Regula deals the 2-2, misses outside. Count runs full to the third baseman. So a huge payoff pitch coming here with the infield pulled in, looking to cut down that third run for North Shore. Regula deals, ball high. So Varinos works a full count walk. Regula's third of the day. Just like that, it's first and third as Winkle comes out to give some signs to his infield as the middle backs up a little bit, double play depth, looking to get out of this one on a ground ball. But that'll bring up three-hitter J.P. Knight, who's 0 for 2 on the day.
You look at the glass half full. Okay, you get the walk here, you push the infield back. But now, if you're Regula, you have to make sure you execute the pitch because J.P. Knight does have speed, came in with 13 stolen bases on the season. And you're going to have to be able to turn two quickly. So if you're Osberg or Sagan, who's ever covering the bag, the other one, if they're going to be able to make the throw, get there in time.
The 1-0 popped him up. Bonvicini is there. He's going to make the play in fair territory. So a nice job there from Regula to get the three-hole hitter Knight to pop out harmlessly for the second out of the inning.
And 2-0 right now with Northshore up over Bristol and still looking for their first hit as we're going to be entering potentially the bottom of the fifth soon. You wonder what if 2 runs is like 5 runs.
Harrison Engstrom fouls that one back.
Engstrom 0 for 2 on the day, grounded out to the left side of the field, or rather first in the top of the first, grounded out to short, and then third. Or pardon me, second.
The 0-1 from Regula off speed, swung on and missed as Varinos is going to get hung up. Coming home, the throw is dropped by Winkle. So Mejia able to score on a little bit of trickery there from North Shore as Varinos, it looked like he was getting held up the entire way, intentionally getting in that rundown. The throw came in from, I believe it was Sagan. It was a little bit up the line. Would have been a tough play for Winkle to make anyways. But nonetheless, the ball popped out. Mejia slides in safely. And just like that, it's 3-0 North Shore. 0-2 pitch misses outside. So you credit Varinos there with a stolen base as Mejia comes around to score. The 1-2 from Regula off speed, misses inside.
And what you saw right there was a delayed steal, and Osberg kind of double clutched and threw away from Winkle. So Winkle was being too conscientious about the line and where the runner was. If that was more direct to home plate, I think there's more of a bang-bang play there.
2-2 swung on and missed. But we'll keep it right here. And, Chris, you can continue dissecting that play, a little bit of trickery, allowing North Shore to steal a run.
Well, here's what happened right here. You had runners on first and third. You had Mejia at third. You had Varinos at first base. There was a double steal. Varinos is going to second because he's trying to draw the throw from Winkle. Winkle bites, but Osberg, being the intellectual ball player that he is from Quinnipiac, was playing in front of second base. Mejia decides to go. Osberg gets the ball, but double clutches, and that's the problem right there, AJ. Because he did that, the throw was a little bit off the line and kind of unsure about, okay, am I going to throw it now or is it going to be the second clutch? And it was on the second time. And because of that, it took Winkle up the third base line, and Winkle was a lot more preoccupied about where the runner was and making sure he was in the proper place on the third baseline. If that's more towards home plate, you might have a better chance of getting Mejia. But that's what happens when you have a team like North Shore who steals bases. They force these guys, or teams rather, to throw. And in the FCBO, players are here to be able to try to make either defensive plays, offensive plays to be able to improve their game. And right there you saw, you test a team, make them throw the ball. You put the ball in play. You don't see that in the major leagues anymore. And you have the 3 true outcomes: walks, strikeouts, and home runs. We were talking about it yesterday, AJ, you and I. You put the ball in play, you force them to be able to make the plays. Prime example in 2015 in the Mets and the Royals. The Royals forced teams like the Mets to make the throws. They didn't, and that's why they lost the World Series.
And you saw right before that at-bat, you saw Pat Winkle come out and give a couple signs, and that's normally what catchers do in that first and third situation. But you have to think with these guys, these college kids playing every day for what could be their first time in their careers, limited practice time, and that's something that Coach Ronnie Palmer would go over in practice. But it seemed like Osberg, a little bit of a deer in the headlights look right there, and the double clutch allowed Mejia to score. Nonetheless, 3-0 North Shore as we head to the bottom of the fifth. Jeremy Sagan lines one into right field past a sliding second baseman. That's Spencer Brown. So Sagan, a leadoff single, getting things started here on the first pitch of the bottom of the fifth.
And first hit for the Bristol Blues. And it came at a perfect time, down 3-0. Need as many players on base. And getting Sagan on now sets up and the tone for the rest of the lineup with Osberg, Leparco, and Brereton.
As you said, that'll bring up the top of the order Ian Osberg, second baseman, 0 for 2 on the day. He watches strike one. And something interesting here, I was going to make a comment about Osberg. He was rocking the red, white, and blue stirrups, a little patriotic look, but after no hits for 4 innings, Osberg trying to change the mojo, going Sox down here. 0-1, swung on and missed. Osberg quickly down in the hole, 0-2.
And Osberg looks a little bit uncomfortable, although he did take the count and deep in his first 2 at-bats. Just missing on a couple pitches, and you wonder if maybe that first at-bat kind of is in the back of his mind and being preoccupied with the umpire.
The 0-2 from Riley misses high. And you can see why Riley is such an effective reliever after you got a guy like Audette, who's kind of your normal over-the-top type right-handed pitcher. You got Riley coming in here. Kind of a unique high leg kick, almost a third quarters arm slot, so tough to pick off. As Osberg grounds one to third, onto second, onto first, in time. The 5-4-3 double play eliminates Sagan and Osberg. It was a nice turn there from Varinos over to Brown, over to DiLoretto. So just like that, the leadoff hit is erased on the 5-4-3 double play turned by the Navs, and that'll bring up designated hitter Alex Leparco.
And Riley has yet to throw a ball yet. 7 pitches, 7 strikes.
Off speed, way inside. Leparco able to duck out of that one. Leparco DHing today. Normally a sure-handed fielder, but getting what amounts to a half a day off. Just getting some swings, 0 for 2 on the day, with a pop out and a line out. The 1-1. Leparco lines one down the left field side. That'll bounce over Varinos and into left field. So Leparco in there safely with a stand-up double down the left field line. So the second hit for Bristol, but you can only imagine what could be after Sagan started off the inning with a base hit, but was erased on the double play. Nonetheless, Leparco aboard safely with 2 outs. And that'll bring up 3-hole hitter Rich Brereton.
And Brereton walked back in the fourth, but was left stranded when the bases were loaded, and Sullivan struck out on 3 straight fastballs.
Riley deals fastball strike outside corner.
And the bullpen warming up for Bristol is Zachary Dione. Through 2/3 innings yesterday, had a little bit of command problems, but we'll see what happens if and when he's in this game.
0-1 off speed, misses just inside. You could see Riley there wanted that pitch. Bit of a frisbee slider, trying to sneak that in the front door, but just missed off the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Brereton pops one, foul territory. Riley giving chase, but runs out of room as Varinos was also over there. That'll land in foul territory harmlessly. So some new life here for Brereton.
And the approach of the Bristol Blues right here, you think about the at-bats that they've had for the majority of the game. They've seen to look at a lot more pitches rather than be in full attack mode. Maybe as you can see right now, yes, they do have 2 hits. They have a runner on at second. You're down 3-0. Got to chip away little by little. And you saw what Audette did at times, and then now Riley throwing first pitch strikes. If you have to attack at the first pitch, do it. I get that they want to walk, but you can't sit around for that perfect pitch. It might not come.
1-2. Misses up and away. So the count will even. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Alex Leparco leading off second after a 2-out double down the left field line. Riley comes set, checks on Leparco. Kicks and deals, misses low and away. So the count will run full to Brereton, the center fielder. 0 for 1 on the day with a walk. But a base hit would give this stadium a little bit of life here and put the Blues on the board as they are still searching for their first run of the evening.
And give a chance for Winkle for the at-bat.
3-2, nub down the left field side, but that'll roll foul. So we'll do it again. Brereton looking for his 10th ribby of the season. Coming into this one, 7th in the league in batting average. Coming off a couple of 2-hit games, 2 for 5 in the win against Martha's Vineyard and 2 for 3 in the win against Pittsfield. Riley is set, kicks and deals, off speed, misses high and away, ball 4. Riley shaking his head a little bit, but I think Brereton was correct in laying off that full count pitch. So that'll bring up the catcher, number 3 hitter, Pat Winkle, in another big spot here. As you remember, back in the 4th, the Blues left them loaded, but another opportunity here, 2 men on with 2 away, and Pat Winkle at the bat.
Winkle 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts.
This one laced into center field. That'll get down for a base hit. Leparco will round third and score. Brereton moving to third. So Winkle invigorating this Muzzy Field crowd with a big 2-out base hit, scoring Alex Leparco and getting Bristol on the board. 3-1 your score now. The Navigators lead.
And you saw right there Winkle swinging at the first pitch. I mentioned before, that first pitch might be the best one that you get. So instead of taking it and falling more into a pitcher's count, pitcher's advantage, you attack the fastball. Winkle did that. Now he has 4 RBIs, had 3 in last night's game, 1 today. Inning by inning, you chip away little by little. Bristol Blues have the offense to do it. It's just a matter of, can they do it with enough time and their pitching? Can they shut down the Northshore Navigators with the attempts of stolen bases that they have?
Justin Henry Malloy takes strike 1, and Winkle, a relative newcomer to this Bristol team, has only been on the squad since June 20th, but with that base hit, he just notched his 11th RBI of the season. The 0-1 to Malloy misses inside as the count evens 1-1.
Now, if you're Malloy looking right here, consider the likes of what Riley can throw. Has not been able to really command the off-speed pitches as much. You would think a fastball might be coming here, but Malloy has to stay disciplined. Yes, a home run would put you ahead.
1-1 off the glove of Riley. But Malloy is thrown out by Brown. What a heads-up play by the second baseman to recover at that ball. Ricocheted off of Riley's glove. And Chris, I see you gesticulating. You are not a fan of that call.
DiLoretto, that ball came out of his glove, and by the time that he regained the, if you want to say, possession of the ball, Malloy already tagged on first. He is safe. And I know we have to be, on both sides here, but he was safe. DiLoretto did not have the ball in the glove by the time Malloy tagged first. When Loretto was able to regain possession, Malloy was already 10 feet in front of first base. That's a call that I wish we had instant replay.
So a tough break to end the inning as Malloy absolutely smoked that ball off of Riley's glove, but a heads-up play from Spencer Brown to pay attention there, recover, and throw out Malloy, much to the chagrin of this Muzzy field crowd and my broadcast partner, Chris Saunders. But the Blues do get one back. 3 hits in the inning as they try to scrape back into this one. 3-1 your score. The Navigators lead the Blues as we roll on in to the 6th inning. We'll be right back here. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Back here at Muzzy Field, top of the 6th action, Northshore leading Bristol 3-1. Bristol finally able to put something up in both the hits and runs categories. 3-1 your score. New pitcher here for Bristol, it's Zachary Dion, as he deals a ball 1 to George Sutherland, the center fielder, leading off for the Navigators.
And with Zachary Dion on the mound, that will end Jake Regula's night. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 22 batters faced. And the key thing for Zachary Dion, command, command, command. Has great stuff, but if he's not around the plate, FCBO hitters will hit the fastball.
The 1-1 misses outside. Dion out of Salve Regina. The righty comes into this one, his 9th appearance, posting an 0-1 record with a 6.19 ERA. As Dion misses inside, and Chris, you said it, it's about command, and right now not looking so hot, digging himself into a little bit of a hole. 3-1 the count. The pitch swung on, grounded to the right side. Osberg ranges to his left, fields, and flips to Bonvicini for the first out of the inning. So a nice job there of Dion to escape what looked like a bit of a bleak situation, able to get the first out of the inning. George Sutherland retired.
In Dion's first batter that he faced in the top of the 7th against the Suns yesterday, he walked and then surrendered 2 hits and then a hit by pitch. So right there, good start for Dion with that first batter getting the ground ball.
And that's Spencer Brown who skies that one foul. Brown made a great play to end the bottom of the 5th. A bit of a freak play. Justin Henry Malloy came up with a man on third and smacked a ground ball right back to Brock Riley as Dion deals outside, and the ball ricocheted off Riley's glove. It looked like Malloy was going to be in there with an infield single, but Brown able to corral the loose ball and fired it over to first. Controversial call, but Malloy was ruled out to end the inning as Dion deals foul ball, strike 2.
And it looks like we have another pitcher warming up in the bullpen. It is Kyle Hagg.
You have to believe Ronnie Palmer, a bit of a short leash here with Dion. As Chris, you mentioned the other night, just 2/3 of an inning pitch for Dion. Did not do the job. That one's fouled back. Worked himself into a bit of a jam, gave up just 1 run as Neil McDermott was called on to put out the fire. I believe it was a bases loaded jam. Able to strike out the final batter of the inning. But Dion, a bit of a short leash tonight. Quickly had 1-2. And gets the strikeout there. High fastball. Brown not able to catch up to it. So Brown down on strikes. Dion looking sharp so far. Second out of the inning. That'll bring up John Prentice.
Well, you like to say, AJ, a Jackal and Hyde. First batter was the Jackal, and Brown was the Hyde. He really didn't have command, kind of got away with a 3-1 fastball down the middle to get Sutherland on the ground ball, and then got Brown via the strikeout. When he's on, he's got a high-octane fastball with a good depth and height with the breaking ball, but when he's off, he's missing completely away to the arm side, and glove side, you can just count that out.
The 1-0 off speed. Able to dip in there. And some nice break on that one. Called strike. Some nice tight spin on that one. 1-1 the count. Dion goes back to the off speed, but this time misses away. Not by much. 2-1 the count. Prentice grounded to Bonvicini at first in the second and walked in the fourth. That fastball misses inside. See Dion there. A little bit of a pause after he delivered that pitch, and 3 straight pitches that were borderline balls, but not getting the benefit of the doubt. 3-1. And Dion trusting his stuff there, not giving in to Prentice on the 3-1 pitch. Goes off speed, able to pour that one in. So the count runs full here, 3-2, 2 outs. The payoff pitch off speed. Catches the outside corner. Prentice down looking. So Dion able to battle back from 3-1, goes off speed and a full count and freezes Prentice for the third out of the inning. So 3 up, 3 down for Dion, and we'll head to the bottom half of the 6th. The Blues looking to get back into this one. 3-1 the score. Northshore leading here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the 6th here at Muzzy Field. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry, we'd like to thank you for tuning in with us, spending your 4th of July evening here with us on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. And we've got a good one here tonight. Northshore leading Bristol 3-1. It'll be Matt Bonvicini to lead things off as he takes ball 1 outside.
Bonvicini 0 for 1 of the day, flew out in the second, and then was able to reach via a walk back in the 4th, but was later stranded in that inning.
The 1-0 swung on and missed. Good healthy hack there from Bonvicini, but could not catch up.
But see right there, that was a fastball within the strike zone, so him being able to take a hack at that was okay. If that was outside, I'd be a little bit surprised.
Riley deals off speed, a knee buckler there, and Bonvicini could not pull the trigger. 1-2 the count.
Bonvicini's going to have to get tough right here, but typically doesn't, as I stated before, really tries to expand more so. Will find his zone, be able to figure out what pitch particularly that Riley's going to throw here.
1 ball, 2 strike. Lifted into center field, and that'll drop in there for a base hit. A little bit of a hitch in the windup of Riley, but Bonvicini able to stay on that pitch, drive it into center field for a leadoff base hit.
I like to call that the little shimmy shake Johnny Cueto. Riley tried to be able to mess up the timing of Bonvicini while he was ahead in the count, but left over a pitch on the outer half of the plate. Bonvicini not trying to pull that ball, because if he did that, he would have flew out to left. Instead, drove that ball into center, and the picture-perfect swing of Bonvicini showed right there.
That'll bring up Peyton Stevens. He squares to bunt. He lays one down the first base side, but that'll trickle foul. So Ronnie Palmer playing a little bit of small ball there, but Peyton Stevens unable to get the bunt down. Chris, you might call that the Johnny Cueto shimmy. I like to call that the Kelvin Sosa.
I don't even know what to call Kelvin Sosa, to be honest. He has 8,000 different motions. I think that's his own motion.
He's the Swiss Army knife of pitching motions.
Basically.
0-1 to Stevens, who technically tonight does not have a play appearance. 2 walks for the right fielder. He'll swing away, and he'll line that one into center field. So quickly, the Blues starting a rally, and after no hits through 4 innings, the Blues with 5 hits in the last 2, and now a pinch hitter here for Bristol. It'll be Dylan Reynolds in to hit for Jimmy Sullivan. So a little bit of a rally here. First and second, nobody out, and Ronnie Palmer not waiting around. He's going to try to take this game right here, bringing up the lefty out of Fairfield, Dylan Reynolds.
Nothing wrong with that move either. Sullivan did not look very comfortable at the plate, and you wonder if the graduate from Wethersfield is a little bit overpowered right now in the FCBL. So allow him to be able to just kind of escape the game for the rest of this time being and just try to watch and learn. That's the biggest thing for Sullivan, is going to be able to learn the nuances of the FCBL.
Reynolds showing bunt there, but pulled it back. Ball 1 as he shows bunt again, and he lays one down, but foul. Looked like it hit the plate immediately. Bit of an interesting move here. What do you think, Chris? Ronnie Palmer going to his bench, but just using Reynolds, who is a proven commodity in the batter's box, but just using him to lay down a bunt. What do you think of that one?
I'm a little surprised. I would think if you're going to have Reynolds come up, you'd rather see him swing away or use his great eye, which he has.
So Reynolds squaring to bunt again, but this time foul, and you can see Reynolds frustrated with himself, and you see it time and time again, unable to get the bunt down in the first 2 attempts. So now a 1-2 count, and you would have to assume he's going to have to swing away. So 1-2 the count to the pinch hitter Reynolds, coming in hitting .261 so far this season. So a bit of a tough spot now, way behind. The 1-2 pitch misses high. But again, if there's one guy you're going to have up there to put in a quality at bat, it's probably going to be Reynolds. He takes a lot of pitches and he sees a lot of balls go by. So again, definitely not out of this at bat. The 2-2 from Riley, swung on, fouled back. We'll do it again.
I have to admit, though, if they were planning on having somebody bunt, and we don't know about who the best bunter is on Bristol. I mean, that's something we could ask Ronnie Palmer, the manager for the Blues, after the game. But in a case like that, I would have put out someone like Ethan Hunt, who has bunted before and done it successful quite a few times. And then if you want to put somebody in the outfield, have Reynolds go to left.
We'll do it again here. The 2-2 pitch misses inside. So Reynolds coming out to pinch hit, being told to bunt, fails to get the bunts down, fouls them both off, and after a 1-2 count, he works it back. And we've seen this time and time again from Dylan Reynolds. Full count here to the outfielder. And that ball misses away. So after surrendering 2 base hits, Riley there unable to put away Reynolds, as the Blues were willing to give Northshore an out. Riley unable to execute. So now a whole lot of trouble for the Navs. Bases loaded, nobody out. And it looks like Todd Alford will come out and speak to his reliever just to talk things over here as he is in a pinch. Once again, bases loaded, nobody out. Jeremy Sagan, the shortstop, set to hit.
And Sagan was able to get a hit back in the bottom of the 5th to lead off what eventually would have been a base, or actually more so for the Blues to be able to get 1 run, but a nice play, a questionable one at most, to end that bottom of the 5th inning on Malloy getting out on the ball that potentially might have popped out of the glove of Di Loretto. But right now, Bristol Blues have an opportunity. Second time they've had the bases loaded. They had it before with 2 outs. Sullivan struck out to end that. That was with 2 outs. Now they have it with the bases loaded with nobody out. Got to come away with a couple here.
Bonvicini off third, Stevens off second, and Reynolds off first. Sagan the batter. He swings at the first pitch and lines that into center field. That'll get down for a base hit. Bonvicini coming home, and he is going to score. So a huge base hit off the bat of Jeremy Sagan to cut the deficit to just 1. 3-2 your score here in Bristol. The Blues still trail. And Jeremy Sagan coming into this one, just 191, 2 RBIs, but his second hit of the day gives him his 3rd RBI of the season. And the score now 3-2 in favor of North Shore. Ian Osberg set to hit. He takes ball 1.
And Sagan having a coming out party, and both times swung at the first pitch. Drove it to right and now to center, and a smart job by Ronnie Palmer not to send both. Only send one. You don't want to take yourself out of an inning here.
The 1-0 from Osberg, ripped foul. 1-1 the count, and it was a bit of a tough read to make as a base runner. It was a kind of a sinking line drive, and you didn't know if Sutherland was going to have a chance to catch it, so Bonvicini was still at third. He came around to score, but station by station here. The 1-1 grounded to second. Brown fields. He'll go to second, but that's all he'll be able to get as Stevens comes around to score. So mark it down as a fielder's choice, but an RBI off the bat of Osberg, and that'll tie the ball game, 3 runs apiece. So the Blues, some good situational hitting here in the bottom of the 6th, tying things up.
And still have runners on the corners with only 1 out. And you have Leparco, who has been hot the last week and a half. Now, anything in the air with the speed, Reynolds is not a burner by any means, but if you can get the ball far enough, he can tag from third. He's an intellectual base runner, especially when he's in scoring position.
Osberg goes. The throw to second is not in time. Ball trickled away from Freelick, but Brown was able to corral it, so Reynolds will hold at third, but Osberg moving to second. So 2 men in scoring position now for Alex Leparco, who doubled back in the 5th. It was down the third base line, and another opportunity here for the designated hitter, but he lifts this one into center field, and it looks like it won't be far enough as Freelick will make the play, the shortstop in shallow center field. So a wasted opportunity there for Bristol as Leparco pops out to shortstop for the second out of the inning.
Leparco trying to put that ball in the air, but just got underneath it, and 2 down. The stolen base, though, at least allows them an opportunity here. A single can score 2 and put them up by 2 at the time, 5-3. But you have Richard Brereton up at the plate, has walked in the 4th and the 5th, flew out in the 1st. Really hasn't seen too many competitive pitches within the zone. You would think first pitch fastball. Wouldn't shock me if he attacked right here.
First pitch misses inside, and for as good as he's been this season, Brereton hitting .309, only 9 RBIs so far, so really has not come up in a situation like this with multiple guys on base, but can break through in a big way and give this Bristol team a lead here in the bottom of the 6th. 1-0 the count. The pitch swung on, lifted foul behind the plate, out of play. So the count will even 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now, if you're Riley right here, you know that Brereton's going to want to try to find a way to be able to drive that ball up the middle. So do you pound him with a fastball in, force him to pull his hands in, or do you throw that breaking ball away and see if Brereton will chase?
1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch swung on, lifted down the line, but foul. 1-2 the count now to the Bristol center fielder.
Defense mode for Brereton does lead the FCBL in strikeouts with 30, and he has been prone to the K. Riley, is looking for one. The right-handed pitcher for the Northshore Navigators.
The 1-2 pitch swung on, fouled back, so Brereton staying alive here with 2 outs, down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And he's throwing a fastball away to speed him up. Now he throws a curveball to slow him down again. As you saw how way out in front Brereton was. Do you think he doubles up on the curveball, or since he's ahead in the count 1-2, maybe pounds him with a fastball high? I think it's going to be something high.
Big pitch here in this game. Riley kicks and deals, swung on, grounded to short. Freelick is there. He bobbles and throws. Not in time. Reynolds will score on the error by Freelick as Brereton able to leg that one out. And the Blues take the lead 4-3 here in the 6th. A big error from the North Shore shortstop.
You can tell right from the get-go that Freelick did not look comfortable being able to get after that ball. Second time we've seen him bobble it, but he was able to get away with it the last time with Sagan back in the 3rd. This time he didn't. 4-3, Bristol Blues are up for the first time in this game here on the 4th of July.
And it looks like North Shore will go to the bullpen. So Brock Riley giving up a couple base hits, followed by a walk. An RBI base hit off the bat of Jeremy Sagan. And a couple batters later, after a big error by the North Shore shortstop, Bristol has taken the lead. 4-3 your score here at Muzzy Field as Todd Alford will go to the bullpen. We'll be right back here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. So a new pitcher here on for North Shore. It's Jim Castillo, recent addition to this Navigator roster. And what a spot for your first appearance of the season. First and third, 3 runs already in for Bristol. And Pat Winkle, one of the most clutch hitters in this lineup, up to bat, the catcher, number 30. Castillo deals a fastball, fouled back, strike 1.
Now lefty on lefty, I can see the strategy from North Shore's kind of forcing Winkle to really keep that shoulder in. When you're facing a left-handed pitcher as a left-handed batter, biggest thing is picking up the timing, or rather the position of which the ball is coming out of the hand. Make sure you're keeping that front shoulder back.
The 0-1 off speed drops in their strike. So quickly, Winkle down in the count, 0-2 against the big lefty from New England College.
You can tell Castillo throws from a little herky-jerky arm slot, kind of double clutches in the back, and then comes from a short arm over-the-top delivery. We have not seen a breaking ball yet, so you wonder if Castillo will throw that pitch on the outer half of the plate against Winkle, up 0-2.
The 0-2 misses low, 1-2. Winkle, back in the fifth, came through big time with a big 2-out single, and that scored Rich Brereton to get the Blues on the board, looking for the same success here in the sixth. The 1-2 swung on and missed. Off speed there from Castillo. So the move to the bullpen works for Northshore, but the damage is done as the Blues score 3 on 3 hits, a couple of walks, and a big error from Northshore. They take the lead 4-3. Bristol ahead of Northshore as we head to the 7th here on the 4th of July, right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back. We're good to go. So we're here in the top of the 7th. Zachary Dione still on in his second inning of work, coming off a 1-2-3 inning in the 6th. He'll face Corey DiLoretto, Jeff Mejia, and the top of the order, Sal Frelick. The pitch, swung on and missed, strike one. So a big inning there in the bottom of the 6th. The Blues finally able to break through with a little bit of a rally. 3 runs as they take the lead, 4-3 here in the 7th inning. The 0-1 misses up and in, 1-1 the count.
And how long of a leash does Ronnie Palmer have with Zachary Dione? Because he has Haig warming up currently. I would anticipate any sort of trouble, he's going to go right to the reliever.
The 1-1 hits DiLoretto. So you said it, Chris. Any trouble starts, and we could see some action, but not a good start to the inning. After retaking the lead, Dione hits the leadoff man, DiLoretto, to start the inning. That'll bring up Jeff Mejia, who's 1 for 1 on the day, reached twice, a base hit and a walk. Dione deals first pitch strike.
You saw the hit by pitch was on a breaking ball, and Dione typically will, at least most of his hit by pitches have come via that breaking ball. It's because he's coming around it and not really having that true conviction in the pitch.
The 0-1 fastball catches the outside corner, quickly ahead on Mejia, 0-2.
A double play right here would really help out Dione and kind of solidify that clean inning rather than bringing in Haig with guys on base.
The 0-2 fastball off the edge, misses, ball 1. 1-2 the count. Mejia, a walk back in the 5th. That started the inning. He eventually came around to score. The 1-2 swung on and grounded to Sagan, who flips to Osberg onto first. Not in time. So it was there for the taking. Sagan with a smooth flip over there to Osberg, but Mejia too quick as he beats out the throw from Osberg. But the lead man is away. DiLoretto cut down at second base. One away. Mejia still on first, and that'll take us to the top of the order with Sal Frelick, the shortstop.
And that's a difficult play to be able to make because Sagan was kind of going on the run, and at least surely you get the out at first. You want it, if you're in that situation, because of how difficult the play was, you get the lead runner. They were able to do that, and now let's see what happens right here as you're back up to the top with Frelick.
1-0, misses low and in. 2-0. Frelick hitless on the day, and that's not something you see, as he has recorded a hit in 14 of the 15 games he's appeared in so far this season for the Navs.
With one big error today.
The 2-0 swung on and missed, and Chris, you're exactly right. With 2 outs there, first and third, Rich Brereton with a pretty routine ground ball over to Frelick at shortstop, but picked his head up too early, bobbled it, and that allowed Reynolds to come around to score. Mejia bluffs a steal, goes back to first, but Dion misses high, 3-1 the count to Frelick.
The reason why a runner will bluff in that instance is because they see the pitcher sometimes will rush his delivery towards home plate, and you saw right there Dion threw a high fastball.
3-1 pitch, squibbed down to first. Bonvicini will field, but it's ruled a foul ball. Looked like it hit Frelick when he was still in the box. So the count will run full to the shortstop, headed to Boston College next year. Still looking for his first hit of the day.
Full count pitch right here. It would shock me if Dion did not throw his best fastball and try to get Frelick, who has had a tough day today with an error, via the K.
So the payoff pitch misses low. So Frelick works the walk. And Dion still in a little bit of hot water here. First and second, 1 out. And that'll bring on Elias Varinos, the third baseman.
And Ronnie Palmer kind of just picking at whatever hair that's left in that head, because Dion kind of giving himself another situation. He did it last night against the Suns and kind of put him in a conundrum. You don't want to be back in there because now Neil McDermott is not there to save you in the back of the bullpen. He threw the last 2 days.
Varinos takes ball high, and Chris, you're exactly right. McDermott came on for 3 1/3 yesterday to close things out for the win over Pittsfield, as Jordy Shiner now is going to come out and talk to his reliever, Dion, who has struggled to throw strikes this inning. After he hit the leadoff man, DiLoretto, he was erased on the fielder's choice, but he then lost Frelick, who reached on a walk here, and a dangerous hitter for the Blues here, Varinos, who has reached base all 3 times he has come to bat. A single in the first, a double in the third, and a walk in the 5th. So a very dangerous batter in the box here for Northshore, as Dion is going to have to be careful here and work hard to get the second out of the inning. The 1-0 off speed, misses outside, 2-0. Mejia leads off second. He reached on the fielder's choice. Frelick off first. 4-3 your score here in the top of the 7th. The 2-0 pitch catches the outside corner. Looked like it might have been a slider there. 2-1 the count.
For Dion to have the confidence to throw that breaking ball on a 2-0 pitch, if he misses it or tries to guide it like he did before as he hit DiLoretto to begin this inning alone, it'd be dangerous, but let's see if that kind of changes his fortunes.
The 2-1 swung on and missed. Good fastball there. Varinos couldn't catch up to it, and that evens the count, 2-2.
And that's what's so puzzling about Dion, is because he shows flashes of plus stuff, but then at times the command's always sometimes not there.
The 2-2 pitch. Off speed, check swing. Did not go. So Varinos able to check his swing as he runs the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. 2 men on here for North Shore. First and second here in the top of the 7th. Dion kicks. The payoff. Off speed. Called. Strike 3. Varinos down looking. And Chris, that is a gutsy pitch there, going off speed in a full count situation. And that looks like it will be all for Dion. So he worked his way into some trouble. A hit batsman, a fielder's choice, and a base on balls, but able to strike out the dangerous Varinos in a full count situation. Went off speed, and it looks like Ronnie Palmer is going to go to the bullpen. We'll have that and more for you coming up after the break. It'll be Kyle Hagg coming in a big situation. First and second, 2 outs. Your Bristol Blues leading here, 4-3 the score. We'll be right back. Back here at Muzzy Field, it's Kyle Hagg on in relief to face J.P. Knight, a big spot in this game. The Blues leading by 1. Runners on first and second for the reliever, the righty, out of Bergenfield, New Jersey, by way of Ramapo College. Fastball misses away, 1-0.
One of Kyle's teammates, Corey Heitler, was drafted, and he was actually supposed to play for the Blues. But he and the likes of Ryder Green both decided to go pro, and we wish them nothing but the best of luck in their next journey.
The 1-0 misses outside. So Hagg falling behind, 2-0 the count. Here to the 3-hole hitter for North Shore, J.P. Knight. Hagg 2-0 with a 5.62 ERA. Looking to bring those numbers down right here, but a big spot looking to get out of a jam. The 2-0 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 1. Low in the zone there from Hagg, and Knight went down to get it, but couldn't quite come up with that one. Hagg with his 11th appearance. All of them out of the bullpen. So Ronnie Palmer handing it over to the 6'1" junior out of Ramapo College. 2-1 the count. The pitch misses away. 3-1 now tonight.
If Knight finds a way to get on base, you're going to bring up Harrison Engstrom, who's 0 for 3 on the day. So a glass half full. If you find a way to walk Knight, you might have a better shot with Engstrom, who's had a tough day at the plate.
Hag 1 ball away from walking the bases loaded. The 3-1 pitch. Called strike. You saw Knight on his way down to first base, but the home plate umpire had different plans.
Umpires don't like that.
They do not. So interesting to see here if Hag tries to nibble off the corner. As the count runs full, the runners will be moving. 3-2, 2 outs. The Blues leading by just 1. Kyle Hag on to face J.P. Knight. The payoff pitch. Swung on, fouled right behind home plate. So the tension builds as we'll do it again. Here in the top of the 7th, a huge at-bat in this game. As the tying run leads off second, the go-ahead run off first.
And if Hag can find any way to be able to get this batter out, this crowd is going to erupt as they're spending a part of their 4th of July here at historic Muzzy Field watching the Bristol Blues.
3-2, swung on. Malloy fields. He's going to fire on a hop, but it gets by Bonvicini. Scoring is Mejia. But Frelick will stay put as Knight moves to second. It was a hot shot down the third base side. Malloy fielded. He fired on a hop, but it kind of handcuffed Bonvicini over at first. Mejia coming around to score, and it's a tie ball game here in the 7th. And Hag not out of the woods yet. Still second and third with 2 away.
And you've seen Malloy today kind of struggling a little bit with his throws, and you wonder if it maybe after that second one that he had earlier in the game, that it was starting to affect him a little bit in his mind. And you saw right there, typically we see him just let it go. In that instance, he kind of guided that I almost wanted to say that pitch, but he guided that throw, and you saw what happened. Bonvicini couldn't scoop it, and now 4-4 still runs on second and third, and you have a guy who's 0 for 4, or rather 0 for 3 on the day.
Harrison Engstrom swings over that changeup, 1-1 the count. So a couple of errors here in the last few half innings. First by Frelick at short, allowing Reynolds to come around. And then by Malloy, who gives it right back. Tie ball game. The 1-1 pitch into the hole. Sagan fields. He goes to third, and he's able to tag out Knight. Malloy was to end the inning. So a heady play there from Sagan would have been a tough throw over to first, but he goes where his momentum was taking him to record the final out of the inning. But the Navigators get one back. They score 1 on an error by third baseman Justin Henry Malloy. The score now is tied 4 runs apiece as we head to the bottom of the 7th. We're stretching here in Bristol. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back. So the plot thickens here at Muzzy Field. An error by Justin Henry Malloy allows the Navigators to tie things up in the top half of the 7th. 4-4 your score here as the Blues come to bat in the bottom of the 7th, and it will be the man himself, Justin Henry Malloy, looking to make up for that throwing error, leading things off against Jim Castillo. First pitch off speed, misses outside, 1-0. And Chris, I have to bring this up. The Navs scored 1 run in the 5th and 1 run in the 7th as we await the 1-0 pitch from Castillo. Misses high, 2-0. Both of those innings, the Navigators were able to score 1 run apiece without registering a base hit. Couple of walks, couple of stolen bases, and a sac fly, and in last inning's case, a throwing error. And just like that, it's 4-4.
And Malloy had in the count 3-0, and just, to go back to your point about the North Shore Navigators, not even recording a hit and still finding a way to get runs. That's what speed does, and it puts that in the back of your mind as a position player having to record the outs.
3-0. A get-me-over fastball in there, strike one. Malloy on the day, 0 for 2 with a walk. The 3-1 pitch misses outside. So Malloy is aboard with a leadoff walk, and that'll bring up first baseman Bonvicini. Bonvicini, 1 for 2 on the day. A single back in the 6th, part of that 3-run rally, and he came around to score the first run of the inning. He also walked in the 4th and flew out in the 2nd.
A prime opportunity right now, and the Blues have a good player with Bonvicini at the plate, especially with a runner on at first and Malloy.
Malloy, not quite a threat to steal a bag here. Bonvicini coming into this one with a .281 average. The pitch fouled back. 1 home run for Bonvicini and 14 RBI for the big first baseman out of Tolland, Connecticut.
And Malloy is 3 for 3 in stolen bases, so when he has stolen a bag, it is successful. But with Bonvicini, as you said, AJ, correctly, I would not be going, especially with a guy like that at the plate.
The 1-1 swung on and lifted into center. It'll be Sutherland who had to come a long way for that one, but he makes the play. So Bonvicini is retired for the first out of the inning.
4 runs, 4 hits, 1 run for North Shore. 4 hits, 4 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. Almost identical, just like in terms of the pitching sides on both in the rankings. But this has been a very exciting game between the Bristol Blues and the North Shore Navigators.
It'll bring up Peyton Stevens, the right fielder. He takes strike one. Stevens with a base hit back in the 6th. He's reached all 3 times with 2 walks besides that base hit. He grounds one to third. Varinos fields. He fires to Brown at second, who fires to first. Not in time as the throw pulled DiLoretto off the bag. So Malloy is retired on the fielder's choice. 2 away here as Dylan Reynolds will step in. He came in last inning to pinch hit for Jimmy Sullivan, and he remained in the game in left field, getting his second at bat of the day.
And Reynolds, I would assume, with 2 outs, won't be bunting here, so it'll be nice to see what the left-handed batter has.
Reynolds takes strike one on the inner half. Stevens leads off first. 0-1 the count to the left fielder. He takes strike 2 quickly down in the hole.
I'm going to give you a comp on the delivery of Jim Castillo. Brad Hand from the Padres.
Big, you would imagine a big fish that some teams will be looking at come the trade deadline. I'll give that to you. The lefty look. Castillo deals, swung on, nub to third. Barrios is there. He'll go the long way, and that'll do it here in the 7th. So the Blues work a leadoff walk, but much ado about nothing as they squander that opportunity. No runs, no hits, and one man left on base here for the Blues. It's all tied up. Moving on to the 8th. Somebody's going to have to come up big. 4-4 your score. Here on 4th of July, Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry bringing you the game live on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel.
First pitch swinging was Sutherland. Took that into center field as the Northshore Navigators start off the top of the 8th with a single. Before that, at bat, we did have 5, 6, 7. Sutherland's now on at first. Brown, Prentice, if any of them get on, potentially, unless there's a double play. D. Loretto. An exciting game here on the 4th of July. Both myself and AJ would like to thank everybody and anybody who was listening and has been throughout this duration of the game here on a nice, cool Wednesday night on the 4th of July.
Nothing better than this, huh, Chris? I mean, a packed ballpark, a great ball game going down here on the field. Tie ball game headed into the 8th. Someone's going to come up big. What more could you ask here on the 4th of July?
Change up outside, cut at and missed by Brown, 0-1. Not going to lie to you, but if there was a home run derby on the 4th of July with the fireworks in the background, seeing dingers just go left and right, I mean, I think we know who would bat for Northshore. It'd be Freelick.
Well, we don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse here, Chris. We still got 2 full innings of baseball to be played, and the Navigators threatening already. So Kyle Hagg definitely going to have to buckle down here if he wants to get through this one unscathed.
And Mark Silvestri warming up in the bullpen for the Blues. Fastball low and in the dirt, 1-1. Brown 0 for 3, flew out in the 2nd, grounded out in the 4th, and then struck out swinging in the 6th. Dylan Reynolds now playing left field, pinched hit for Sullivan. 1-1 high and away, 2-1. Bonvicini holding the runner on at first.
You see Hagg at 13 pitches, 7 of them strikes, 6 of them balls.
Big healthy cut, 2-2.
And he's going to need a little bit more of that stuff right there. Keep it low in the zone. You've seen Northshore going chasing at balls in the lower third of the strike zone. And if you're Kyle Hagg, you want to live right in that area because not a whole lot of damage can be done with the strikes right around the knees.
2-2 to the right side. Bonvicini throws it over to second for Sagan for 1. Fires over for 2. Not in time. They do get the out at second base. Nice footwork from Bonvicini to be able to make an accurate throw to Sagan and at least get the lead runner out, Sutherland. But Brown gets on via fielder's choice.
You said it, Chris. Great footwork over there from Bonvicini. Very smooth. Knew what he was going to do when he fielded it. Turned glove side, fired a strike to Sagan. And that's a huge play, especially as we get to the later innings. Able to keep the go-ahead run out of scoring position with 1 away. That's a huge confidence booster to Kyle Hagg. 1 step closer to getting out of this inning.
First pitch to Prentice inside, 1-0. Prentice 0 for 2 on the day. Struck out looking in the 6th, walked and then stole base in the 4th, and then grounded out for an RBI in the 2nd, which at the time did give Northshore a 1-0 lead. Before Bristol was able to tack on 1 in the 5th and then 3 in the 6th to be up by 1, but then surrendered a unearned run and on an error by Malloy. And that's how we got to this point, 4-4 here in the top of the 8th. Breaking ball, slicing foul. Going towards the Bristol Blues bullpen, up left field, 1-1.
And what a turnout here from the Blues faithful. I would have to assume it's the biggest attendance of the summer so far. As see that grandstand behind the plate is packed to the gill, and then the bleachers down the left field side about halfway filled up. So great turnout here on the 4th.
1-1. And another big healthy cut from Prentice, and he's trying to put that ball in the seats, but every time he's done that, he's come up empty.
Prentice trying to play a little bit of hero ball here, but right now, as the game gets later and later into the innings, I think the more pressure you put on a defense, the more they can kind of feel it too. So if you can go station by station and get a number of guys on base, that puts a lot of pressure on the defense and on the pitcher to consistently throw strikes. And Kyle Hagg, he started to throw more strikes, but we've seen he struggled with a little bit command early. 12 strikes compared to 7 balls. So if you're Northshore, you just got to take it station by station, move one guy over at a time with 1 out here in the top of the 8th.
1-2 to the DH towards right field. Stevens is able to make a reaching catch. Bonvicini able to scoop it at first. As you saw the runner, Brown, kind of leaning more towards second base, thinking that ball was going to drop in front of Stevens. A good piece off Apprentice's bat, but to no avail.
A little bit of a dicey play out there. A straight line drive. Saw Stevens kind of shuffle his feet a little bit. Didn't know whether to go in, to stay put. But able to make the right decision at the last second. Fielded it about mid-crouch. And then a little bit aggressive there, trying to get the out at first base. Short hop to Bonvicini, but he's been fantastic over there at first today defensively. Able to keep that ball in front and prevent Brown from advancing into scoring position. So 2 away, and Hagg can slip out of this inning.
First pitch outside, 1-0. D. Loretto 0 for 3 on the day. Ground out in the 2nd. Struck out in the 4th. Was also out in the 7th. Brown really not taking much of a lead. 2-0, high fastball.
Brown just 3 stolen bases thus far on the season. But we did say that last time about Jeff Mejia, and he was able to snag second base. So you never know, especially late in the game. Northshore might get a little aggressive, try to get somebody in scoring position, and 1 hit away from taking a lead in this ballgame.
And when the Bristol Blues are going to be up to bat, they will have 9th and top Sagan, who does have 2 hits on the day, 2 for 3, and Osberg, Leparco, and Brereton. So if the Blues can find a way to be able to get a semi 1-2-3 inning, except for the fielder's choice. Other than that, they can get out of this right here. The Blues have a good opportunity in the bottom. Runner going, throw to second. It's going to be high over the head of Osberg and into center. Brown's going to stay at second base. And we've seen the wheels from Northshore continuing to challenge Winkle, and they're really bullying him. Another stolen base, and this Northshore team is going to crack that record that was set a couple years ago.
I believe it's the 4th stolen base on the day for Northshore. And now the first couple, I give Winkle a pass. They were on some off-speed pitches, some pitches in the dirt, but I think that one lands squarely on the shoulders of Winkle. Not the best jump from Brown, and I think a good throw would have had him dead, but just too high as that one airmailed Osberg. So the game go-ahead run in scoring position now for DiLoretto. And a dangerous situation here. Haig really going to have to bear down 2-2 count and make a good pitch.
And now that stolen base and a single will more than likely give an opportunity for the Northshore to be able to increase the lead at 5-4. If Brown was on first and there was a single, at worst you got first and third. So stealing bases is what really kind of wreaks havoc on the base pads and forces pitchers to have to really quicken up their delivery. The 2-2 pitch just gets a piece. And we'll do it again. And how many stolen bases does Northshore have? 4, you said?
4 tonight, and I believe it's 82 total on the season.
They came in with 79. 83 stolen bases. As you can hear the fireworks in the background, sounds like a finale for at least one town's fireworks, and it looks to be on the left side. If you're facing towards the dugout where we are, it will be on your left-hand side.
Some fireworks going on outside the stadium, but surely to be some fireworks here in the last couple innings.
2-2. To the left side, Mejia. Malloy's going to have to test the arm. Makes the accurate throw. And DiLoretto is out. Right to the bottom of the 8th. 4-4 is your score. We'll have 9th and top. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the 8th, 9th and top. Sagan, Osberg, Leparco. If any of them get on Brereton. And another inning, Gene Castillo back on for what looks to be potentially another inning of work. His third, as my partner was giving me the 3 sign. Almost like a Golden State go for a 3, except I wouldn't bank it by any means. It would clunk and then double clunk and then fall out.
Looking around, some scores from around the league earlier today. The Worcester Bravehearts knocked off the Nashua Silver Knights 5-1. That game was this afternoon at 1 p.m. So the Bravehearts getting the victory in the matinee on the 4th.
First pitch to Sagan, breaking ball back door, 1-0.
And this one's still taking place. The Pittsfield Suns are beating the Brockton Rocks 8-4. That one's in the top of the 9th.
Sagan misses on a pitch in the dirt, 1-1.
And I will say, Chris, I mean, 4th of July tie ball game and a packed house here at Muzzy Field, and you can kind of feel there's some energy in this stadium, and this one's got a little bit different feel than another regular season game. But if the Blues can punch something across here as Sagan fouls one back, you can feel that this crowd is just ready to explode and get on their feet and start yelling and screaming for something.
Justin Rouse warming up in the bullpen for the Blues. In 2 relief appearances, does have both appearances with no runs allowed. Sagan slaps that ball into right. Knight's going to track it all the way to the line. He's able to make the catch for the first out here in the bottom of the 8th. Sagan 2 for 4 on the day.
Osberg, a rare 0 on the night, 0 for 4 thus far.
First pitch to Osberg inside, 1-0. And AJ, I think you're maybe a little bit intrigued about what Rouse will have coming out of the bullpen. We've seen him one time pitch here and then once on the road, both clean innings, and he looks like a different pitcher in the pen.
You're absolutely right, Chris. I mean, struggled a little bit as a starter. Maybe he just wasn't ready for that role yet, and I think it was a good move of manager Ronnie Palmer throwing him in the pen and just getting 3 outs at a time.
2-0 Osberg takes a couple of misses, 2-1.
But, I mean, we've seen just the raw stuff out of the arm of Justin Rouse, and it's pretty electric. So, definitely coming into a high-pressure situation. We'll see what happens.
And Osberg is going to be able to find a single upright center, and that will give the Blues an opportunity with a runner on, down, or rather tied 4-4. And it wouldn't shock me here, knowing Ronnie Palmer, if he decides to maybe take a gamble if the count allows it to be able to send Osberg.
Osberg, 22 runs. That's tops in the FCBL. So he gets on base and he does what he needs to do to get into scoring position. 13 stolen bases on the season. So definitely a threat over there at first.
Pitch in the dirt. Nice job by Engstrom to be able to not allow Osberg to get to second.
Excuse me, I misspoke. 22 runs scored for Osberg. That's 4th best in the FCBL. Michael Delicari leads the league in runs scored with 24.
Now from this point forward, everybody will have their 5th at bat. Osberg was able to get a 1-out single to right. Parco with a 1-1 count. Chopper to the right side. Frelick sets his feet, gets the out at second. Throw to first. Nice leaping play by Di Loretto to not allow that ball to get into the stands and give Leparco a chance at second. So they do get the force out. Osberg is out. Leparco reaches on a fielder's choice. But with a potential big play happening for the Blues, Northshore gets the job done for the most part.
Bit of a dangerous throw there from second baseman Spencer Brown. You got to be aware of who's running, and for Leparco, right off the bat, you know that's just going to be a tough play to turn 2 on probably the fastest guy in this lineup for Bristol, but a good play from Di Loretto.
Runners going. Throw to second. Not in time. Leparco on its second via stolen base.
And you knew that was coming sooner or later. Leparco absolutely flies on the base pads. So you knew he was going to take advantage, and now the go-ahead run, now in scoring position, and a base hit from Rich Brereton would give this Blues team a lead late here in the bottom of the 8th.
Winkle on deck, Malloy in the hole. The 1-0. High, 2-0.
And for all the speed Leparco has, this is kind of hard to believe, Chris. Only his 7th stolen base of the summer, so
That is a little surprising, I'm not going to lie to you, especially because he's typically at the top of the order.
Very, very surprising. Nonetheless, put himself in scoring position here.
2-0 fastball away, 3-0 on Breederton. It almost looks to be that Castillo is semi-pitching around Breederton, and it's a little questionable because Winkle he's struggled for the most part, yes, but he's just been clutch the last 2 days or day and a half.
I would not agree with that call there as Brereton takes ball 4. That's his 3rd walk of the day, and you can kind of see the frustration on Brereton's face. But, I mean, one thing I will say, though, is Gene Castillo, he came into this ball game a couple innings ago it was the 6th, for the lefty-lefty matchup, and he struck out Pat Winkle on 4 pitches. So I guess theoretically it makes sense. But that being said, I think Brereton, who's 0 on the night, I think you would want to go after him as opposed to Pat Winkle, who had a clutch base hit in the 5th. And we know last night he had another clutch 2-out base hit. So you're playing with fire when you're in this 3-4-5 alley, the power alley, here in the Bristol lineup, as you see some fireworks going off. But the Blues looking for some fireworks here in the 8th. The catcher, Pat Winkle, stepping up to plate, a huge spot in the game.
And 2 nights ago, he did hit a home run against the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, and at that same time, he was also named the All-Area MVP by the New Haven Register. Swing out to the right side, Brown ranges to his left field, fires, and the Northshore Navigators escape a 1st and 2nd with 2 out, and we're heading to the top of the 9th. All tied up 4-4. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Top of the 9th, a first pitch ground ball to the second baseman Brown off the bat of Winkle with runners on 1st and 2nd ended any sort of threat for the Blues as we're knotted up 4-4. And the North Shore Navigators will have 9 then top. Mejia, Freelick, Varinos made them get on J.P. Knight. And Mark Silvestri is on the mound for the Bristol Blues as Kyle Hagg threw 1 1/3 innings, one hit, 6 batters faced, no strikeouts, no walks, no earned runs. Actually, pardon me, no hits, but one. Actually, yes, no, it was 1 hit, 1 run. It's been a long day. Can't even read my own computer. But Mejia coming up with the bases empty. Silvestri's first pitch, fastball down the middle. Must have been low, 1-0. Mejia a part of 2 of the 4 runs that North Shore has scored in this game. 1-0. In the dirt, 2-0. 4 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for North Shore. 4 runs on 7 hits, and 1 error for the Blues.
Silvestri making his 13th appearance out of the pen 1-1 ERA with a 6.38 ERA with a 1-1 record.
Those are getting me over strike. 2-1 is the count on the 9-batter. There's no way that the Blues want to be able to have a runner on base via a walk. I mean, he has already done that once. The 3-1. 5 pitch, and now Mejia's on at first via a walk.
Tough spot for your first walk. Silvestri, not what you want to see there. Struggling to find the zone. Expect you could see Frelick maybe trying to lay one down.
Breaking ball in, 1-0. And that's an excellent point, AJ. You see Malloy kind of pinching in, anticipating maybe that Frelick will have an opportunity. As we stated, 13 stolen bases on the season. He does have speed where if he does lay down a bunt, it can be tricky. Malloy now stepping a little bit farther back after that 1-0 pitch. Foul back behind us, 1-1.
That walk to Mejia was the 5th walk ushered by Blues pitching today. But Todd Alford sticking to his guns here. He's going to let arguably his best hitter, Sal Frelick, swing away. Still looking for his first hit of the day.
1-1 gets the outside corner, 1-2.
Frelick coming in today with a .404 batting average. And he had also hit 6 home runs. So definitely a dangerous hitter here at the top of the lineup for Northshore.
1-2, lifted to left center. Reynolds is going back, and that's going to get all the way to the wall. Frelick is going to get to second. Manager's going to run around the runner at third. Throw comes in, not in time. And Northshore is back up 5-4. RBI double for Frelick.
Well, you knew he was going to get his due. Frelick, one of the youngest but one of the hottest hitter in the FCBL. And he leads the league in home runs with 6, but didn't need one there as he shot that one into the left center gap. And a little bit of odd defensive positioning there as it looked like Reynolds was playing a little bit shallower than usual, and he had to run a long way to field that one. But nonetheless, Northshore taking a late lead here.
Bump play by Varinos pulled the bat back, 1-0. And Northshore retakes the lead 5-4 after an RBI double. And Mejia scored all the way around from first base as that ball was crushed into left center. (1-0) outside, 2-0 the count.
And if you're Silvestri here, your mentality coming into the inning is, all right, don't let anybody on, keep them from scoring. But after giving up the lead with nobody out and a man on second, your mentality just becomes, all right, I got to find the strike zone and figure out how to get this top of this Northshore lineup out.
And Silvestri is known for bouts of wildness right here and kind of leaving pitches over the zone or not even coming close to the strike zone. 3-0 the count with Frelick on at second. Northshore trying to increase their lead. So far have 1 off the bat of the runner on second, Frelick. Get me over strike. Jason Hebner warming up in the bullpen for the Blues.
Silvestri had given up 18 hits in 18 1/3 innings pitched coming into this one.
Big cut, but missed. 3-2.
So you can make that now 19 hits in 18 1/3 innings pitched. And Silvestri certainly got his work cut out for him now, but getting the count into a favorable situation. Full count here to Varinos.
Payoff pitch. Big healthy cut, but missed. Varinos goes down swinging. And a strikeout for Silvestri. But still has to deal with the 3 and 4 hitter, J.P. Knight and Harrison Engstrom.
a big strikeout there from Silvestri. And if you can keep this deficit at just 1 with the energy in this crowd, you have to think that something could go the Blues' way. But still, you still got a guy at second base in scoring position. Silvestri's still got to work hard to get out of this inning with just 1 run given up.
Osberg holding the runner on at second because of the right-handed batter. Now decides to pull back towards the grass. You're seeing a lot of big swings from these North Shore Navigators hitters. I get that Silvestri is having trouble with the command, but it seems like they're trying to hit the 8-run home run every swing.
It's interesting you mentioned that. Silvestri delivers a ball high because the only guy who's actually hit a home run for this North Shore team is the guy on second base, Sal Frelick.
The 2-1. And there's another big swing. 2-2. And what's interesting about that statement that you said, AJ, is the fact that he's still a kid. He's not even a freshman. He's going to be a freshman in college in the fall. But he's younger than the rest of this lineup, and he's had more disciplined at-bats.
More disciplined at-bats and
a better season.
As of right now.
Cut at and missed. Knight goes down swinging, second strikeout via the K.
And as of right now for Frelick, the go-ahead hit. So the young fella showing some poise out here with a big base hit, but Silvestri, a good job of bearing down, and you can tell he's a little bit ticked off maybe at himself for giving up this lead because he's throwing heat right now.
Took a little bit off on that pitch, a curveball backdoor 0-1. Silvestri has 2 different breaking balls, the slower breaking ball, which more is a 10-5, and then he'll throw an 11-5-6 with more depth. Slicing right, has a chance to stay fair. Peyton Stevens on the run. And just out of his reach. Be 0-2 on Engstrom. North Shore does have an arm warming up in the bullpen.
Stevens had to run a long way for that one, just out of his reach. So a little bit gas there as we get into the latter half of this game. But Silvestri here with 1 pitch. Get himself out of this jam.
0-2 to Engstrom. 1-2. Silvestri with the walk, the double by Frelick, and then a struck out both Varinos and Knight, looking for his 3rd strikeout. 1-2 from Silvestri. And we'll do it again.
Good job of spoiling there from Engstrom. Just able to get a piece of that off speed. Engstrom 0 for 3 on the day. 0 for 4. Wonder if Silvestri's going to go back to that high heat. That's how he struck out both Knight and Varinos.
The 1-2. Fastball low, 2-2. And I was thinking the same thing, too. He kind of sped him up on a couple pitches away. Try to expand and maybe go up in the zone to see if Engstrom will chase. He's already struck out once, and you've seen such big swings from North Shore today. The 2-2. Strike 3. All 3 strikeouts via the K. Silvestri gives up 1 run on a strikeout, and Engstrom just breaking the bat on his knee in frustration. But North Shore gets the run off the bat of Frelick. And we're into the top, or rather the bottom of the 9th. Do the Bristol Blues have fireworks? We'll find out. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. New wing on the mound for Northshore. It is Ryder Green. Or, wow. I knew I would do it. Ryan Green.
Oh, Chris. Chris, I think you have a man crush on Ryder Green. But Ryan Green, the new pitcher for Northshore, the big righty out of Tulane, native of Rochester, New York, 6'5", 210 pounds. So certainly an intimidating force out there on the bump. But for Green, only his second appearance in this season, just 1 inning pitched. And that one came on, yesterday against the Brockton Rocks. Through 1 inning, no runs, no hits, 1 walk, and 4 batters faced. So an early test here for Green as Justin Henry Malloy will lead things off, trying to spark a rally here for Bristol in the bottom half of the 9th.
Malloy, a power hitter, facing a power pitcher in Green. First pitch, fastball low, 1-0. Just from that pitch alone, you can see the kind of two-seam action that he gets on the back door on the arm side. That could play into Malloy's powerhouse because he's supplying the power in Green. All Malloy has to do is make contact. 1-0. Low, but called a strike, 1-1. These are the kind of batters, or rather pitchers, that Malloy's going to face. Going to the SEC, you see some of the top pitchers in the league because those guys are going to be draft picks.
And this is an exciting at-bat, and we know Malloy likes to hit the fastballs. Ooh, a big cut right there, and he was trying to tie this ball game up with 1 swing. High fastball, and I know Green's got good stuff right now, but he could be flirting with danger a little bit if Malloy is able to run into one. But he's ahead in the count. We'll see if he goes off speed.
1-2 was an off-speed pitch, and you saw Green kind of spin around, do a 360 after that, shot putting that, whatever that was, in the dirt.
Looked like it could have been, might have tried him to throw a changeup there, just too far back in the palm and held on to it a little bit too long, yanked that one.
2-2 to Malloy. Strike 3. Malloy goes down swinging. 1 down.
I mean, that's baseball at its best right there. It's, here's my stuff. You go ahead and try to hit it. Malloy, a good fastball hitter, just couldn't catch up to the big righties. Good stuff right there. And a big strikeout there for Green. 1 away here in the 9th.
And we saw Green go inside and out, now facing a left-hander. What's the approach going to be? Backdoor fastball, low, 0-1.
I think the approach every time for Green is, yeah, here's my fastball. What can you do with it?
Not bad approach when you throw probably in the high 80s. It looks to be high 80s.
Not overpowering.
No.
But you said a little bit of that two-seam, little action, and that's always problematic for a hitter, especially when it's coming in probably high 80s. With a little bit of movement, that's tough to put in play.
Same spot, a little bit, or actually a little bit more away, but the same idea and selection, 1-1. 5 runs, 6 hits, 1 run for Northshore. 4 runs on 7 hits and 1 error for the Blues. 1-1 high, call the ball, 2-1. And Ryan Green from Tulane. The 2-1 in the dirt, 3-1. And now Bonficini walks right here. Do you think that Ronnie Palmer takes the chance and pinch runs for Bonficini? Losing his bat, though, but with it only being, if they go to extras, 10 innings. Is it that much of a discrepancy?
It's an interesting point you bring up. You would have to think maybe an Andy Haig, someone of that ilk would come on to pinch run. But again, you have to weigh the risk and the reward there. And if you end up tying this game up and getting no more, you lose your first baseman.
3-2 outside. Ooh. Strike 3. Ooh. Bonficini goes down on the low fastball. 2 consecutive strikeouts for Ryan Green from Tulane.
Ooh, that is a That's a tough pitch right there to strike out on. Bonvicini shaking his head on his way back into the dugout. A great at-bat from the first baseman, and we talked about it. He's got a great eye, and he's normally got a good sense of what the strike zone is. And he did not agree with that call right there. Nonetheless, the Blues down to their final out of the ball game.
Stevens, did he go? He did not. 1-0 the count. Stevens has had a interesting day at the plate. Walked a couple times, came around to score in the 6th. He's the last hope for the Bristol Blues. 26 outs have been recorded. Only one left. And the Blues are hoping they can tie the game before that happens. Fastball high and in. 2-0 the count. And Ryan Green, all elbows, knees and shoulders, heads and toes. Lanky and tall, as you stated, over, what was it, 6'4"?
6'5".
6'5". I made him smaller. 2-0. On the hands. This could be the last out. Brown to Loretto. And the ball game is over as Green throws his glove in between the pitcher's mound and first base. And the Northshore Navigators steal one from the Bristol Blues in a late inning heroics. They improve to 11-18. The Bristol Blues drop to now 17-14 in a tough loss here on the 4th of July.
Chris, you said it. It's a tough pill to swallow if you're the Bristol Blues, but, I mean, I'm looking back at this one, and this was a fantastic baseball game. I mean, what a performance. Both starting pitchers coming out and doing the job, and the offense is coming alive in big spots, a couple big 2-out hits, and you got to give credit to the North Shore Navigators. Sal Frelick, you knew the volcano was going to erupt at some point. He had been held hitless all day until the top of the 9th. The biggest hit of the game, a double into the left center gap, gave the Navigators the lead for good as they take this one 5-4. But we talked about it all day. There's nothing better than some baseball on 4th of July, and there's nothing better than a great ball game on the 4th of July, and that's exactly what we got here today. I know a lot of these fans were probably coming here to enjoy the fireworks show, but boy, did they get a heck of a ball game.
And the next game for the Bristol Blues will be tomorrow as they face off at Worcester against the Bravehearts. So for Chris Saunders, for AJ Fabry, and for Jack, and for Huck, so long here from Muzzy Field. We'll see you again on Friday, and enjoy the fireworks. Have a safe and happy 4th of July, and we all thank you, the Bristol Blues organization, for taking the time to spend your 4th of July night here. And now, here are the fireworks. Enjoy, everybody, and so long from Muzzy Field.
Oh yeah, you're gonna broadcast these bad boys?
Huh?
You're gonna broadcast these bad boys?
Hell no.